all right. We'll start. Let's go. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream on midnight. It's midnight, November 5th, 2023. Today, I have a very, very special guest with me named Courtney. She's a cosplayer, and she's also kind of car savvy, a TV celebrity, and kind of a big deal. Thank you so
I've been on
much
TV
for being
twice,
here,
so yeah.
Courtney.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Twice on TV so far, I was saying, and hopefully I can get on just every channel in Australia. That's the goal. I'm going to just make my way through the circuit. Someone has to get the story right eventually.
Well, hopefully we can get your story out there a little bit more today.
Mm.
Courtney has been through the ringer with a lot of things around transgenderism, the LGBTQ cult, as I like to call them. And so she very
Mm-hmm.
graciously agreed to speak with us today.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the word out there because I've got my YouTube channel. I've been on TV, and they edit most of what I say out. Um, but it's such a huge wave of this trans movement, this force is it's a tidal wave. But honestly, it's hard to push back against it. So I'm doing my best, but I'm making it just a tiny dent.
Um, you sound kind of robotic to me. Chat,
Hmm.
can you hear her okay?
We could try. I've got three different internet options here, so I'll try my mobile data. Let's have a look. The settings, yes. Internet.
You sound good right now. Chat, can you hear?
Hot. Okay. Okay. I'm going to switch to my mobile data hotspot. Let's see. Pixel. There we go. Hopefully I stick around. It's going. I'm in like Flynn. There we go.
Nice. All the way from Australia, you guys. Big deal. She's a big deal.
Mm.
I mean, you've been through a lot. Hit by cars, chronic fatigue. You're just. I feel so bad for all the things you've been through, man. I did a bit of a deep dive on
Yeah.
her videos. Definitely go give her a subscription. Her links are down below. Tell me a little bit about the last few years of your life.
Oh my god, how much time do we have? So I detransitioned. The third year anniversary of my detransition was just last week on Halloween, I guess, was when I officially came out as a woman again. But I didn't even really think about. I mean, I got a lot of other things going on in my life right now, so I wasn't thinking much about it. But um, first year I detransitioned, my mother, I'd estranged myself from her when I transitioned, and then when I detransitioned, I thought, oh, maybe I was wrong. I'm gonna just reach out, extend the olive branch, and try to restore our relationship because society definitely pushes that idea of you need family, you should forgive family. Okay, okay. So I did. She was, I think, the second person I told that I was detransitioning. I told a friend of mine, and then I told my mother, and she just leapt on that. She went, "Oh, I've got my daughter back." She took me clothes shopping, bra shopping, gave me all this makeup and shit, and I was really naive and vulnerable and very unsure of myself. So I just trusted her and went along with it. And I had been raised with this very binary idea of men are like this and women are like this, and there's no middle ground. So I was very primed to be taken advantage of by the trans cult because I was already raised with these very 1950s ideas of what a woman is supposed to be. And I was a tomboy growing up, and my mother would always say, "Oh, yep, I was absolutely a tomboy as well, but I outgrew it. I became a woman. I got interested in boys." And I didn't think anything of it at the time, but now looking back, I'm
I
realizing,
became a woman.
oh, Yeah, that she's very much pushing this idea of, oh, it's a phase. You're a silly little girl and you like boy things, but you'll put those away and you'll submit yourself to the patriarchy, to the capitalist system of fashion and cosmetics and all the shit that she loves. So yeah, that's how she views
Yeah.
reality. And I'm the only daughter, by the way, so she, very holding on very tightly and really wanted this doll, this Barbie doll that she could dress up. And ironically, that kind of worked against her. She was pushing something so hard into me that I couldn't stand it. If I had another mother, maybe I would have just liked regular girly things and never thought anything about it. And, maybe I'd be heterosexual and I would want to be a mother and all those things. But I think because she pushed for those things so intensely, it pushed me the other way. I don't want any of this. But yeah, so that first year, detransitioning, I went super girly, and I think a few other detrans women, you'll see the same thing happening where they go from living as a man, shaved head, or very extreme masculine appearance, then they go super girly, and then some of them taper back from that. I've noticed, and 3 years later, 2, 3 years later, yeah, I'm definitely realizing, oh, yeah, no, I was always a tomboy. I'm still a tomboy. I'm butch. I think the second year I detransitioned, I was pulling it back a little. Still had the long hair, ponytail, makeup, but not overdressing. And now, yeah, fully embrace the butchness. I might put a bit of lipstick on. That's about it. Gotten rid of all the shitty jewelry my mother gave me. That's the other thing too. She's a maximalist, and she loves to go shopping just for the sake of shopping. Just buying more
Yeah, mine
clothes, more
too.
shoes, more jewelry. And that was her way of bonding with me. So when I transitioned, she didn't know how to actually talk to me or connect with me at all. And I realize now is because she can't actually connect with the real me. She loved the idea of me, of a daughter who loved to go to brunch and girly movies and do all the shopping and the manicures. And yeah, so I was doing all those things to make her happy. She never actually loved me. And well, my father was completely hands off. I
Oh.
don't. He just had nothing to do. Well, apparently, when I was little, he was very close to me, and then I hit puberty, and just I don't know how girls work, grosser. Um, and then he left when I was 23, I think. So I started transition when I was about 22. I cut my hair short, and started wearing binders, and then 23, I started hormones. So he'd already dipped out by then. So there was a lot of stress on my family, but then I was transitioning, and they acted like, "Oh, you picked a horrible time to transition. You're very selfish." Instead of taking a moment to step back and think, "Well, maybe
What?
she's doing, yeah. Hang on.
Oh my
Why don't you
god.
think from a different perspective there? Well, maybe she's transitioning because there's a lot of stress in her home life. She doesn't feel supported, understood. She feels abandoned by her father. Maybe this is her way of coping. My mother drinking and screaming more. That was her coping mechanism. My brother's smoking more weed. So we all had our own substances that we were using. Mine just happened to be testosterone.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm.
Um, do you do you think that your mom's attitude changed from when you first told her versus now?
Um, so I have no contact with her anymore. I tried
Oh,
to
okay.
repair
Sorry.
a relationship. Yeah, so the
Oh,
first couple of years, I think there's. Oh, am I dropping out again?
there you go. Gotcha.
Okay, I'm gonna try and make the video lower resolution. I don't know. Oh my god.
Oh, thank you, Chubbs, for the super chat. By the way, guys, if you send super chats today, I will share them with Courtney. So, and also, please, like I said, remember to subscribe to her channel down below.
Um. Okay, so you go into voice
Do
and
you have PayPal,
video, and then
Courtney?
video settings. I do have PayPal.
I know that you're in the middle of a lot of your own craft right now. So, if I get some super chats, I'd be more than happy to share them with you.
Excellent, thank you. So video settings, and then it has to. Well, how do I make the video lower resolution? There's too many settings in friggin' Discord, I swear.
It's okay. You're
Yeah, I thought that would
doing
make
you're
the
doing
playback better.
fine. You're doing great.
Okay. So anyway, getting back to my parents, and yeah, so I think the parents are a very major aspect of a lot of, if not all, trans and detrans people. Is our home life affects everything, our relationship to our bodies, ourselves, mentally, our interactions with friends, partners, whatever. And so I'm realizing that it's taken me 3 and a bit decades to realize just how much of an impact they've had, and how I'm having to unlearn a lot of those very horrible lessons that they've instilled in me. But yeah, so reunited with my mother, and then for about a year, I think last Christmas, yes, I was there last Christmas, and my mother is the worst to be around at Christmas. She just gets really stressed. She knows it.
Oh,
December 25th every freaking year is Christmas, Mum. You know it's coming. And yet she's unprepared every time. She's running around like a headless chook, trying to get everything done, and she's screaming at everyone. And she gets angry at me for not doing enough. I'm going,
a headless what?
chicken. Sorry. Australianisms,
Is
there
that an
you go.
Australian thing?
Yeah, a chook. A chook's
That's
a chicken.
cool.
Yeah, so now
A
you're learning
chook?
things. Yeah, a chook, yeah.
Ah, that's sweet. That's cute.
um,
That's cute, chat.
yeah, it is. It's a little chicken. Um, but yeah, so she was very stressed, and so I'm basically visiting. I'm not. I wasn't in the house helping all morning. I arrived for lunch because I'm a guest now. I don't live with my mother. Anyway, so she was pissed off about that I somehow wasn't there. Um, when she told me to arrive
Oh
for lunch.
man.
Okay. Then the other thing was I gave her a gift, and I spent a really long time on this beautiful card that I made. She loved how it looked. I was quilling, which is where you get these thin strips of paper, and then you twirl it up, and so you make these little ringlets, and then you make artwork out of that. And I'd never done it before, and I really enjoyed it, and I was very happy with this card. And I give it to her, and she reads what it says inside, and she's a little quiet. Then later that day, she confronts me and says, "Oh, I wasn't really happy with what you wrote in that card. After all I've done for you, that's all you wrote." And I wrote,
Oh no.
uh, from memory, it's "Merry Christmas, Mum." Even though I don't remember, because I was hit by a car and I have a complete amnesia of the accident and being in hospital for the week. I only remember maybe the last
My
48
God.
hours. And Mum went
This is
on
so
and on and
sad, you
on.
guys, because like she loves cars too. It's just a horrible irony. Like, I love your
I know.
car. It's beautiful, and I'm happy that you have her, by the way.
Yes. Ivy's beautiful. She doesn't have a garage anymore. She's pissed off about that, but I gave her a nice cover that she's
Mm.
parked on the street. She's safe. She's nice. Yeah, Ivy is my 1996 Saab 900 convertible green with gold stripes. She's pretty cool. Um, but yes, I hate SUVs. And I was hit by an SUV because those injuries are
Oh, I
you would only
see.
get them with an SUV. Because if you're hit by hatchback or a sedan, you hit below the waist, so you would roll over the top. I was hit by an SUV, which smacks me in the face, throws my head to the ground, breaks the bones, brain's bleeding, legs broken. He went over my leg, Violet, my bicycle, was bent this way sideways, and I got a big old laceration on my
Oh
leg
my
too.
God.
Oh yeah. Um. So yeah, my mum was obviously my emergency contact at the time, and she was there every day making sure I had food, because I'm a carnivore, obligate carnivore, I might say. I'm allergic to everything. After I took testosterone, I couldn't eat any plants. I can have tea and coffee sometimes. I can have some medication here and there. I wouldn't be taking supplements every day, but I mega dose vitamin D. So this is teeny tiny
Hmm.
little 10,000 IU capsule. every 3 days
Yeah, that was one of
because I
my
couldn't do every
questions for
single day.
you. If you do like holistic medicine.
Yeah, so I can't do fish oil for some reason. It's fish. I can eat fish, but fish oil gives me diarrhea. Can't do vitamin C, but
Oh.
it turns out vitamin C is actually quite abundant in meat, especially if you're not consuming glucose. So my levels are fine, thankfully. But yeah, my mum was trying to get the hospital to feed me properly. They kept saying she's not eating anything. They give me soup or cereal or processed shit like that. Hospitals, don't get me started.
Mm-hmm.
Hospitals, the military,
Girl,
they are feeding people absolute shit, slave food, and wondering
I
why they're
know.
dying.
It's like up there, right above jail, you know, as
Oh
far as
yeah.
food quality goes.
Oh yeah, no, I
It's
think
horrible.
maybe prisoners might get better food sometimes. It's disgusting. It's slave food. So
It's
that's my
sad.
next. I
Yeah.
think that would be my next. Well, I guess big pharma is my enemy in general. So just not just the trans thing, but nutrition and all of that is big pharma has a lot to answer for. So yeah, my
Yeah,
mother was trying to get
definitely.
me to get some food in me. So she would bring me jerky, not realizing that I'd actually dislocated my jaw. Apparently, no one noticed. So I'm kind of gumming at it. Apparently, that's I'm told. I couldn't really eat it. She was giving me,
Oh, Courtney.
boiled eggs. She was giving me boiled eggs, that's actually, you know what? That's kind of cute. She remembered if I don't feel well, boiled eggs, very safe bet for me, and yogurt. So she was giving me Greek yogurt, boiled eggs, jerky, which she had to tear up into little pieces for me. But yeah, um, so okay,
Jerky.
thanks, mum. Good job. Love me some jerky. Um, but she went on and on about, it's a shame you can't remember. I would be there after work. I'd be exhausted, and I'd be there first thing in the morning, dropping your food off. And she's a narcissist. She really wants that validation. I said, "Yep, thank you, thank you. I'm very grateful. You've done a very good job. Thank you." So in this Christmas card, I say, even though I don't remember it, I'm sure Ketamine Courtney really appreciated all that you did for her in hospital because they gave me so much ketamine. So I remember. That's probably why I don't remember anything. And the brain bleed. I don't know, ketamine, brain bleed, either way. And I was
My
acting really
God.
loopy and saying hilarious things like, you know what? The Phantom Menace is the best paced Star Wars film. I don't know. I don't even like Star Wars.
That's brilliant.
It's pretty good
Man, you
pacing,
are
though, I
a
will say.
survivor. You are
Yeah,
absolutely resilient. Like I am in awe by all you've been through. Honestly, I am in
yeah,
shock. Like you guys seriously like go down the Courtney rabbit hole. Like you will be shocked at all the things
yeah.
you learn.
Why am I here? Just to suffer, apparently. That is, I've come back like a phoenix just to get my ass beat further. Um, yeah, because after
A
the accident,
beautiful
you'd think,
phoenix.
oh,
You are
yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
thank you. Yeah, you'd think after being hit by a car, fate would sort of be a little more gentle, taper off a little bit. She's earned a bit of a rest. No, while I'm living with my mother, my mother's being a cunt anyway. Sorry, I don't know if we're allowed to swear. I've probably been swearing anyway. I don't notice.
This is YouTube. I don't know.
Woo!
She's
Yeah,
Australian,
we'll see.
okay? It's just
I'm sorry.
yeah,
It's
it's
just my
fine.
bloody language, okay? You're being
Yeah.
racist, xenophobic. Um, anyway, my mother's being a bitch. And so complaining that I needed food and to shower. By the way, I eat once a day and I shower once a day, but she went, "Oh my god, it's so demanding." So that was that. But no, I wake up one morning, my security camera in my house has gone off, and someone else, a second person, has broken into my house in the span of 1 year.
Oh yeah. I think I saw something about that too, and I know for a fact. I watched one of your videos that someone broke into your property and stole her car from your
Yes.
property. You guys,
Yes, so
unbelievable.
yeah. Oh yeah, I lived in a really methed up neighborhood, Thornley, if you're curious, near the train station, and I was really naive when I moved in. I didn't think about security or anything at all. So there was no security screens on any of these windows. They just had the mesh screens you could just bust into. But I already had someone jump the fence once, and they saw me. He was dressed all like a ninja. He jumped the fence in the middle of the night. I looked out the window. He saw me. He got spooked. He ran away. I told my real estate agent, "Hey, we kind of need to do something about the security. My back window / door is just glass. Nothing is preventing someone from just smashing it and getting in." And they wasted a lot of time just messing around. Oh, yeah, we're just trying to get this guy to get some security screens. Yeah. 6 months later, I come home from a driving lesson, ironically, but couldn't use my own car. And the back window's been smashed, most of my jewelry. Well, one of each pair of earring. He took one of each earring. And I don't know, meth van. Took random pairs of underwear and socks, but he also took my PlayStation for my friend's PlayStation 3 that he lent me so that I could play the Metal Gear Solid collection. Although now it's all on Steam, so I guess it's not so bad. But yeah, the Metal Gear collection, which was very rare, very expensive. So that had all been stolen. Ivy was gone, so I was just absolutely devastated. I had never screamed and cried that hard in my life ever or since. It was just this rude awakening of, oh yeah, this is reality, princess. You were an idiot. And yeah, a lot of other things were stolen. And thankfully, so Ivy was insured, and then she was written off by one insurance company, which actually turned out to be great. It was a perfect thing of, she was insured for about, God, it was about $4,000. I paid $3,500 for her. So yeah, they gave me $4,000, and so not only was I able to fix the problem she already had, but the new ones as well. And she's mostly okay. I forgot to do that this morning, but to actually sew the felt bag that the convertible roof folds into, he just slashed that open, thinking, I don't know, I'd hidden something in there. What a freaking moron! But anyway, man, he did not get. I was trying to look that up. Yeah, I was trying to look up what his sentence was. I think they emailed me. The police emailed me. Can't remember, but I think he got off pretty lightly. And the guy who hit me with his car, he fled to Turkey, so Interpol had to get involved. They had to drag his ass back, which probably cost a lot of money. And then he was only fined $3,000 and then a 3-month license suspension. What the fuck?
Really? That's it? What the fuck?
Ridiculous. Did he even get demerit points? I don't know. But going back to Although yes, my life has become very automotively fixated. I didn't mean for it to become that way, but but yeah, I forgot to finish the story with my mother, that she got upset that my Christmas card to her was not, I don't know, worshipping her enough, kissing her ass enough. I don't know, but yeah, it gets worse. It gets worse. After everything I go through, yeah,
I hate that that's a theme.
Yeah, at least my mother's there for me. My loving, loyal mother. No, actually. So, oh my God, no, there's even worse.
People on the internet.
Woo! Yeah, no, actually, I'm finding. Okay, the man who sold me this sewing machine. Can I move this? This sewing machine. His name is Lazarus. This sewing machine, because he was found on the side of the road, upside down. But he's doing very well now. I like my Lazarus. But cool. Yeah, I want to paint him. I don't know, maybe gold. I got a lot of gold paint because I bought for Ivy's room, so maybe I'll use what I have. I just gotta get my laptop back on the desk so I don't. So my mate Tim, found him on Gumtree. I was buying a sewing machine, found this guy selling a very nice sewing machine. Okay, very cheap. And Tim he's a Viking. He's a Norse pagan, so it looks full on Viking, big beard. I meet this guy, I'm thinking, is he like a neo-Nazi? Oh my God. Most lovely guy you've ever met. And he was he's better than family for me. He was the one who helped me move my. Well, he
Mm.
stayed with me the night I was able to leave hospital. He slept with. We had a sleepover. And then my mother insisted that I live with her to care for me. I should have gone to a rehab center. I didn't know that was an option. I'm high on ketamine. I've no idea what's going on. So yeah, I just went, oh, I
That
guess
makes sense, I
so.
suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd think, oh, okay, well, you should be with your family. They can help you. Um, but yeah, so he helped move my bed and everything into my mother's house. So, great guy, really helpful. My family, on the other hand, yeah, my brother's not helpful at all. But my mother, every time she helped me, she made it seem like a huge burden. So then I had to ask Tim. Mum had this huge screaming match with me. This is why I left. I wasn't fully recovered. I still had the collar on. I couldn't walk. But my mother, so
Mm.
I was making lunch and she does this thing. I hate talking about my mom so much, but this is all relevant. So
That's okay.
I'm trying to
This
get,
is this is
yeah,
your hour. I mean,
my hour.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get past her and she's in the fridge and she's just zoned out. She does this all. She zones out. You could walk right up to her, right up in her face. She has no idea. It's funny. It's hilarious. And so, as usual, I make the joke of, so are you going to move or do I just live here forever now in this spot here? And she just flew off the handle. She screamed and screamed and screamed. And so I just went, yeah,
Oof.
she would not settle down, going red in the face, veins popping out. And so I snuck into my room, called up Tim and said, hey, can I leave today maybe? And then she bursts through the door. She's listening on the other side of the door, continues to scream at me. So Tim hears this and goes, yeah, okay, I'm going to get there as soon as I can. So it's a great guy. I want to make it clear, I'm not totally boned. I do have some people who help me. Mostly
That's great.
online, though,
I'm
actually. I
glad.
don't know why. Most of my closest friends are on the internet. But,
That's okay. I
yeah,
mean, so is 2023. Welcome to the future where,
I am. I
we're
think
all
it's,
separated by the people that love us.
yeah, I think
It's tragic.
that yeah, it's a little tragic, but I think that the distance makes us invest more time in verbal communication. So I think if you're in physical proximity
Hmm.
with friends and family, you take it for granted, or there's a lot of just you're living in the same space, but you're not really opening up. You're not having those real in-depth conversations. Whereas, so I have a friend, and he's going to be my co-host. We're doing a Metal Gear podcast, but yeah, Phil is the
Oh,
one
that's fun. When are you starting that
yeah.
up?
Well, we've been recording this for ages, but I think we're going to start it soon. Finally, release it to the world soon. It's going to be called Metal Girl Solid, which is perfect because now I do have
Oh,
metal
love that.
inside of my body. I've got metal pins. Yeah. And
Shit, you're like a cyborg.
yeah, um, yeah. So
That's
I
badass.
thank you. But yeah, so Phil was the one who was there for me. What being in Croatia, I could call him at 3 a.m., not be able to sleep, being in pain, just go, I don't know how I'm gonna handle this anymore. So yeah, he's heard me sob and moan and bitch a lot, a lot, a lot. Um, so
You
I'm
guys
just
met online?
we met online. We're gonna go to Japan February, March. So yeah. I think we
Cool.
no, we met over he was doing the Matrix Minute podcast and I was doing the Prometheus by Minute podcast. So we review these movies, 1 minute of the movie per episode. Look, my life is really full of stuff. I'm trying to get to the point, but there's so many other
Hey, I'm just listening, just getting to know
Okay,
you.
good.
And my chat is getting to know you too. So, yeah,
Good,
no
yeah.
rush. No rush on you.
Um so yeah, left my mom, things got a little better for a while there. And then Ellie and chat. I got internal bleeding because I got food poisoning because I can't smell or taste. So I ate chicken liver, and I swear I had cooked that thing properly. But air fryers are a little too intense on the outside, maybe not enough on the inside. So I got food poisoning,
Hmm.
and I'll never eat chicken
Oh
liver again.
man.
Lamb, beef, fine. Chicken liver, no. So it's just non-stop. And I'm not working at this point, obviously. I'm still recovering. I think my collar is off,
Mhm.
but I still need the crutch. Yeah, I don't have the moon boot on. I have the crutch. Um, but still having trouble walking, still having vertigo, lots of pain everywhere. And then I have unstoppable diarrhea, and then it starts bleeding.
I thought that was
And then
that was when you were in the hospital, or when you got food
no, so
poisoning.
I've left. So food poisoning was when I left the hospital. Then I was living with mum. Then left my mum. Then I was living by myself and able to cook, and
Gotcha.
mostly by myself. I can look up the dates, but yeah, yeah, I don't remember. Then I thought, okay, well, I'm bleeding internally, so maybe I need to go to the hospital. And I'm on my L plates at the time, so I'm a learner driver. I don't have my full license. So I can't drive myself to the hospital. I feel really sick anyway, so I think that's happening. Ambulance takes me. Oh, and then later I learned that, oh, by the way, in Western Australia, so some states of Australia, ambulances are free, especially if you're on the disability pension, which I was.
Hmm.
No, in Western Australia, no. You were paying for. Oh shit! So I'm still paying that one off. I had two
How
ambulances because I had a
much?
bad reaction to the COVID vaccine. My God! So initially it was going to be 2 grand for both of them. Then I said, "Hang on, I'm on a pension." Oh, are you? Oh, okay. Because what's happened is they were sending my bill to an imaginary address that didn't exist. So I have not been paying these bills because I don't know I have bills to pay. So then they've gotten the debt collectors after me. So then they say you owe $2,000. I'm going, I absolutely do not owe $2,000. I shouldn't know anything at all, but I absolutely do not owe $2,000. So that was back and forth, and now I think I paid it for one, so they're 300 each. So, oh, what a bargain.
Wait, so they
Uh,
got your address wrong,
yeah.
and so they were sending you bills, and then they said you were late on your payments because they messed up.
Thankfully, there were no real consequences. I mean, for a while, I had the debt collectors I asked, but then we finally established, oh no, they done goofed. I am fine. I am innocent. Um, yeah. So that was sort of, but yeah, internal bleeding. Then having to get the emergency colonoscopy, not the same day though. So on that first day, they do the test, stool
Wow.
test, which was a challenge. It was very liquid, just lots of blood. And I put the saline in my veins, the electrolytes. Then they sent me on my way home. I think yeah, Tim picked me up for that one, and yeah, it took my time to recover. It did pass after a little while. At least I wasn't dying of internal bleeding because my middle brother nearly died of internal bleeding once as a kid, so I had that in my mind. Um, so then I have to have this emergency colonoscopy, and I tell my mother about it, and I say I'm really nervous because going under anesthesia. I mean, I nearly died. I've had a brain injury. I don't trust doctors. I've got a lot of medical trauma.
Yeah,
I have
that's
chat. I
all
haven't even mentioned all the
terrifying.
shit the doctors did to me. It's all terrifying. Yeah, I didn't even
Yeah, we
tell you the
haven't even
stuff that
got there
happened
yet.
in hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I actually
We
was
haven't even
injured and
got
in
to the
hospital, what they did
trans
to
stuff
me.
yet.
Oh, we didn't get
Ugh.
to the trans. Like what those doctors have done to me. Look, I've got a lot of beef with doctors. But and not the
Yep.
tasty
Down
beef.
with Big
Yes.
Pharma.
So, oh yeah. So I think this will be the final thing that I need to establish everything, and then bring it full circle to the trans shit and how I got to this in the first place. Look, I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. Um,
No
so yeah, I
problem.
tell my
I'm
mom.
just listening. I'm in shock from all the trauma you have like my heart is
Woo!
just like pouring out to you right
Oh,
now.
thank you,
So,
thank you. I feel it. I feel it's empowering. It's making me stronger. Um, yeah,
aw.
honestly,
Yeah, I love your energy.
well, thank you. pain, I think, will make you stronger. I'm kind of like the white female David Goggins, but instead of deliberately hurting myself by running too much, I just accidentally get hurt. But then, I do come out
Oh.
clean the other side. I feel better. Because you realize, I think a lot of, and this does tie into the whole trans thing, we build up these ideas, we build these anxieties, these fears, everything so big in our heads. But then in real life, when you look around, and this is why meditation is great, just sit still for a second, shut the fuck, turn the brain off, shut the fuck up. What's bad right now? Am I in pain? Is anything bad? Oh, my pins right now. Sometimes they're a little painful, especially because it's humid. But I'm not really in pain. I'm feeling pretty good. And so these trans kids, I think, it's the same thing of, I feel so anxious and I don't feel like I fit in. And okay, shh. But right now, in the present moment, there's nothing bad. You're fine. But because you have nothing to compare that to, so like toddlers, toddlers will have a bloody tantrum, over anything. I used to work at Kmart, and so the kids would come through, and the parents, on the front of the trolley, and the parents would have to take the toy or the lolly, candy. Sorry, I have to translate all the time. The lollies,
No,
take it
it's so
away,
cute.
and then
It's so cute.
yeah, take it away and give it to me to scan, and then I'd give it back to them. And that kid, in that 5 seconds, taking the toy away, I'm scanning it, I'm putting it back in their hands. It's just absolutely going off. And then you give them
Their
back
world
what
is just shattered.
Yeah. And it's because they don't know pain. So they felt a little bit of discomfort. And they go, what is this? Oh my God, is this heart attack? Am I dying? Because they got nothing to compare it to. So when kids have this gender dysphoria, it's just normal teen anxiety of, oh no, I used to, pick my nose and never brush my hair, as a child. And sometimes wet your pants, those sorts of things. Embarrassing, maybe a little, if you're a little self-conscious as a child. Then all of a sudden you hit puberty. And all of a sudden, okay, what's my hair doing? Am I fat? Am I too skinny? Am I too tall? Am I too short? Am I, everyone's freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
But these kids get in their head that everyone else is so cool. Look at, Becky over there looking so just perfect. Her skin's perfect. I bet she has no problems. Well, I'll never be a girl as good as Becky. So, I'll just give up and try to be like Chad instead. What's the logic there? But yeah, I think that's exactly
have you ever thought like, sorry, that whole connection, I wonder if some, some kids these days, they might go down that logic of like, oh, well, I see Becky, for example, this imaginary Becky, she gets the Chads, right? So, if I can't be Becky, I'll be the Chad that Becky goes for. You know what I mean? Especially, that's why it's like the new conversion therapy for young gays, because, young gays, they're just trying to, be with Becky, but they see Becky with Chad. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Absolutely. And I didn't realize, I don't know if I was born gay. I guess we don't really know the science and the biology of all that. I mean, there's some studies that say, we can fairly reliably predict homosexuality from, I think, about 3 or 4 years of age. But then there's other studies that say, well, actually, you don't develop your true cemented sexual orientation until you go through puberty and the hormonal changes. So we don't know.
Right.
And I was asexual for a long time, although I'm going to make a video on this because it seems to me, the studies are usually swept under the rug, but it seems that most asexuals have experienced either a sexual trauma or they experience an endocrine / metabolic disruption, upset, disease, if you will. And I think that was my case where I needed that kickstart, that jumpstart into puberty, which, okay, I'll give testosterone that 1 point. Okay, 2 point, maybe 3. Okay, because in the interest of disclosing everything in a fair and balanced approach, were there good things about testosterone? All right, 1, pretty good voice. Like the voice. Curlier hair. I didn't have curly hair before, so good. So that's two. Muscles. I do like my
Hmm.
muscles. Um, and then yeah,
Yeah,
four,
that's something I
having
was
an
gonna
SSA.
ask you.
Mm.
Sorry,
Yeah,
what was your last thing?
having a sex drive. I never had a libido before, and then I suddenly
Oh,
noticed girls, and it was very, very powerful
it's like,
awakening.
hey.
Hey, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
I wanted to ask you, like, what are things that you've noticed that like well, first of all, how old are you? How long were you on T? And you've been off 3. And what things have changed back now that you've
mm.
detransitioned, and what things have stayed from T? So yeah, you just said what stayed from
So
T, but
yeah, so those are the four good things that I like. Which makes me wonder if there could be an argument made that there's some underlying endocrine problem here that maybe cross-sex hormones could help under the right circumstances. So, maybe they could have given me a lower dose, or, try to figure out, okay, why do you have this dysphoria? Why do you not have a libido? Why do you have all these other neuroses and issues? You don't seem to have gone through puberty normally. Now, they did give me a blood test before giving me testosterone. They said, yeah, all your levels are normal and fine. I question that because
hmm.
I had a lot of issues that were not recognized.
Yeah.
That just by coincidence, testosterone helps. But I think it's like
Hmm.
using bleach to clean something. Bleach will definitely clean your teeth, but maybe don't brush your teeth with bleach. So yeah, I needed something milder.
Gotcha.
Nowadays, so my periods are really bad now, and I have the false pregnancies and all of that. But what I'm finding, so I've been experimenting with the phytoestrogens, the soy estrogen creams. That's been helping a lot. I'm
Hmm.
about to have my second period since starting that trial, so I think that might be the cure. So yeah, my endocrine system was not okay. There was something wrong, and we can't reverse the clock and figure out what it was. But I haven't gone back to that. I've had a consistent libido. So at least there's that. So the things that don't go back, I didn't have as much clitoral enlargement, although I don't. I think that would have been fine. That would have been quite interesting, really. Um, and um, what else? I think the Adam's apple is. You can feel the Adam's apple, but you can't see it. The hair's receded
That's
into
so
more of a
interesting.
male configuration. Um,
How long were you on
which just
T?
makes my. I was on T for 5 years. Yeah. Super low dose.
Gotcha.
This was the Testagel and Androfort creams, and I had a really bad reaction to them. So my doctor just made this dose smaller and smaller and smaller until we were getting those changes, but not so much that it was making me sick. But it was still making me sick, just in less obvious ways. The chronic fatigue. Yeah, I lost years of my life. So
Of
initially
course.
you get
Wait, how
this.
old were you?
So it says 5 years, so 23, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27. I think so, 27, 28. Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm writing my memoir now, but I'm not up to that point yet. I'm editing. I'm going through the second or third pass at it, but yeah, I'm still up to my high school years. So yeah, those dates aren't as fresh in my mind. Um, Also, I need
And
to.
you're how old now? You've been 3 years off, right?
Yes, this
You're
is my
30?
third year. So 31, and January I'll be 32. So, think about it. So that's 2021. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, one,
Mm-hmm.
two, three. Three. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So 2020 was the year. Well, there was the pandemic, and I wanted to get my breast removed. That's the point that I don't know why I decided that, because had, I had chronic fatigue at that point. So I'd been bodybuilding and feeling amazing that first year. Because you do get this gender euphoria. You're basically high on these drugs. And you have so much energy, feel amazing. I was bodybuilding. I was getting really big really fast because I'm basically taking steroids. Um, And then I
Wow.
was just overworking myself, and I got a cold, just a mild cold, but I never got better. It caused this cascade failure in my immune system that I was just tired all the time. I couldn't work. I couldn't study. I was just getting worse and worse. I was getting so frail. I needed a wheelchair at one point, which my mother obviously had a go at me for because she didn't believe me that I
Ugh.
needed a wheelchair. Oh, you're being ridiculous. You're just doing this for attention. I didn't finish the story
Oh my
with
God.
the colonoscopy
What?
and my mother. We'll get to that. But yeah. So
Man.
I'm having convulsions, paralysis. It's really bad, and it never occurs to. Oh, and then constant bloating. So initially I was bodybuilding and then eating like a bodybuilder, which is a really crap diet. Now I know a lot better. So I bodybuild and do carnivore now, much easier. But back then I was doing the high carb thing. So I put on about 20 kilos, and I went from a very tiny little girl, and I hated that. I hated being so tiny. Then I put on about 20 kilos, but there was also a lot of bloating, fluid retention. So I looked really big. Um, Funny enough, though, so I went from about 48, 50 kilos to 70, 72. I'm currently about 63, 66 kilos. I hover somewhere around there. So I'm actually not that much lighter, maybe 10 kilos lighter, but it looks like a huge difference. And I think that's just that bloating. Um, So, yeah, I am just in a really horrible state, and it never once occurs to me. I'm having all these tests, and not once does the doctor say, maybe you should stop taking testosterone. Let's see if that makes a difference. Normally,
Hmm.
if you have any issues, your doctor's prescribing you medication, and you have all these really bad health issues, and you've had all the tests, and they go, we can't explain it. Maybe we'll take you off the medication. Stop taking the birth control. Stop taking the insulin. Let's see what's happening, and we'll try to adjust from there. No, I guess they were afraid of being transphobic or losing their medical licenses
Mm.
if I freaked out. And that's the horrible thing. There's a lot of
Yeah.
you have all these trans people who are very aggressive, and so they will go for the jugular. They want to take people's jobs. They want to call everyone transphobic, and they want to feel friggin' self-righteous about it. But for a lot of us trans people, we're just innocent and naive, and we're just going along with this, and we are assuming that we live in a sane world where the doctors and therapists will make sure that this is right for me. No, they just don't want to lose their jobs. They're terrified of you, so they're just going to give you whatever you
Mm.
want. You've basically It's almost like you're just this innocent kid, but in their minds they're
Yeah.
seeing someone coming in with an assault rifle and demanding everything. um, yeah, that's
Yeah,
what
and
they're
you
seeing. They
were
go, oh
an
shit.
adult too.
And that's the other thing. I
You're
mean,
an
I
adult
had
too, and
well,
you transitioned. So, what's
yeah,
your opinion on minors being forced
yeah,
into this like ideology and transitioning?
absolutely. There is no excuse for it, and I hate it's very insidious. It's pedophilic that they are coming for the
Yep,
kids,
you're
that
right.
they want to convince them you have to transition as early as possible, and they've convinced the adult trans people the same thing of, well, wouldn't it have been
Yeah.
nice if you had been able to transition when you were a child? And I've had a
Oh
trans
my
woman
God.
tell me,
What the fuck?
if I had known that I could have stopped my male puberty and I was denied that, I would have killed myself. And I just thought, no, you wouldn't
Uh,
have. Because if you were that mentally
man.
unstable, then your responsible caretaker would have dealt with those things. The problem wasn't that you were trans, it would be that you're mentally unstable. It's like, if you're gay and you're in a repressive religious family for whatever, something like that. So you're not allowed to live your true self. Do they kill themselves? Well, maybe some of them do. But by and large, they're not like, oh my god, my life is so stressful, I'm going to kill myself. No, it's they find ways to deal with that and express themselves. They will go and have find a partner, be very discreet about it. They find ways to live their life without having to surgically alter themselves. They find a way to be themselves. But when it comes to trans people,
Yeah,
it's
100%.
basically coming in at gunpoint saying, "You will let me mutilate myself, or I'm going to kill myself." Oh, let's just de-escalate. You have some needs. You don't feel comfortable living your true self, which is just gender stereotype. Hey, settle down, Sam. That you want to be a Samantha? No, you don't have to be. You don't want to be a Samantha. You just want to wear high heels and you want to wear skirts. No one's stopping you. Go ahead, mate. Do it.
Yeah.
You don't. No one's telling these trans kids, hey, you can just be yourself without any of the
Right.
medical intervention. intervention.
Yeah, and people
So
have
that
been,
hostility.
gender nonconforming for so long too, and so now it's like,
I know
oh,
we've gone
you're
backwards.
trans, you're what? Exactly,
Yeah, we've
exactly.
gone back. Instead of as
That leads me.
Boy George,
Go ahead.
Annie Lennox, Prince, all of these
Exactly. Yeah,
singers, especially
they're icons.
dressing however they want,
Yeah.
icons, and they were never them. They were
Yeah.
saying, "Look, I am a woman. I'll shave my head if I friggin' want to."
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yet, well, it's religious motivation, and it's also a financial capitalist motivation that we don't like
Yeah.
these queers, these homos, these non-conformists. We don't like them, and then also we can make a lot of money from making them lifelong
Mm-hmm.
medical patients that we give them the psychological issues, because we have studies now that show, not coming from America, we have studies done internationally that show very definitively mental health gets way worse when you transition, when you start taking these hormones. And I'll tell you for a fact,
Yeah.
I thought I was a robot. I totally dissociated from myself. I was insane. I was, I was getting these violent impulses. I didn't act on them, thankfully. But this shit will fuck you up.
Yeah. I definitely believe that it's mass gaslighting
Mm,
of the medical industry, the capitalistic medical industry, on adults and on kids now. It's
mm,
just massive gaslighting for money in their pockets. It's
yeah.
terrible. It's
Well, the
consumers
problem
like
is,
mentally ill.
yeah, it is when you question the system, you are labeled a conspiracy theorist and oh, you're going too far. And I've lost friends, or I've had friends criticize me saying, oh, you seem like you're turning into, conspiracy nut job. You're sounding very Fox News, you're sounding this, that, and the other. Was
Uh,
oh my god. I can see his face.
that
I'm blanking on
sucks.
his name.
Been there.
They're turning the frogs gay. They're thinking I'm a bit like that.
Oh, Alex
Um,
Jones. I've
Alex
lost
Jones,
my
yeah,
friend since college over Alex Jones. Yep. Yep.
yeah. Just
They're
thinking
so
I'm.
stuck in their own ways, you know?
Mm. Yeah, I mean the thing is, and the thing that changed my life was, so when I was sick, I decided to study online. I'm going to do something. At least I'm going to try and be productive. Just stop taking testosterone, you fucking idiot. But anyway, yeah, I was studying a librarianship, archiving, and record keeping degree. Long name, but that actually taught me. So I'd never done. I'd studied at WAPA, so that is a university course, West Australian Academy of Performing Arts. I'd done costume design, but I'd never done a
Cool.
proper academic. Yeah, and I loved my time there. But yeah, I'd never done one that was more about the books, the text, the academic, real, the more cognitive rather than the physical. Um, so I
Hmm.
learned how to research to an academic standard. I learned how to follow the money of, well, who funded this study, what was the outcomes, what was the conditions of the test, and then learning how to do oh my god, a meta study. So you take all these different studies and you compare them together and you get all the combined data. So I'm learning all this stuff. I didn't end up graduating because I got so sick in the end. Don't think I'd go back, but it wasn't a waste of time. It really changed my life because I realized everything I know about the trans movement is wrong. Everything I know about nutrition is wrong. And I realized, well, a lot of this is coming from, well, there's Big Pharma, there's the Pritzker family, and one of them is a trans woman. So, of course, he's got an agenda there. And there's a
Yep.
Seventh Day Adventist church, and they have a strong vegan agenda. So a lot of the stuff that's saying, "Oh, eat more plants," and eat if you eat red meat, you'll destroy the planet and you'll die. Yeah, fuck off. It is really sad
More
that.
like if we don't eat red meat, we will die.
Mm,
You know?
well, if we all ate grass-fed beef, we would help reduce so much murder of animals living in those crops and environmental harm and all those things. So yeah, they can bash it up their asses, Bill Gates and Leonardo DiCaprio with their bullshit. But yeah, it is so sad that we live in this condition, the human condition, that we are uniquely capable of being self-aware and criticizing and analyzing our nature. So when it comes to diet, we should instinctively, I mean, if you give a baby or toddler who's starting to go onto solid foods, if you give that kid a heap of choices of food, they're always going to go for that meat. They will grab for the meat. They know they need that meat. Whereas we condition both our children and our pets or animals. I'm looking after my friend's dog and cat, and cats are obligate carnivores. They don't need fiber. They cannot process any of that. I'm looking at the container on the back of the container of these cat biscuits. I'm thinking, well, they only eat meat, so how do you preserve? Oh, fiber, all these multivitamins, wheat, grain, canola oil, corn. Whoa, oh yeah. So this cat, I've been eating nothing but steak and beef mince since I've moved in with him. And this cat, oh, he loves me. He gets on the table. He's oh, what is that? I want a bit of that. He loves it. He'll eat the biscuits too.
I'm
but
still
I think
listening. I'm
converting
just
him.
doing some settings. Sorry.
Yeah, no. But the dog will not eat meat. She will just stick to her biscuit. So it made me so sad. I'm going, we have conditioned not only ourselves but our pets to forget what it is to be our own species, what we eat, how we behave, how we interact with it. Everything's fucked. Okay. But I think if I do talk about this more, maybe I'm not just screaming into the void, that other people will realize, oh yeah, shit. I've just been taking what the news tells me, or what Big Pharma tells me, what my doctors tell me, and I've never actually stopped to think, hang on, but our ancestors, cavemen or early modern humans, and our cousins, the Neanderthal and all that, in the Ice Age, where were the carrots and the corn chips and the none of that, the avocados,
Exactly.
the avocado toast? No,
The
disgusting.
quinoa.
The quinoa. Yeah, no, our ancestors, we and modern hunter gatherers, some of them do dairy, because of course if you domesticate these animals, you have very easy access to that. But by and large, the easiest, most available thing to eat is other animals. We had honey. Honey was very prized. The ancient Greeks and Romans both loved honey because it's hard to get much of it, and that was the sweetest thing they had. And yeah, they slowly bred vegetables and fruit to be what it is now. But I was telling a coworker, well, we didn't have any of these things back in the. Oh no, God gave us our fruits and vegetables. Well, God did, but then we went along and made them really big, 10 times, 100 times sometimes the size. So yeah, people do. It's a sad part of human nature. I've had to learn a lot about logical fallacies. I think that helps me get through to people a lot, either with the trans beliefs or the vegan beliefs, or even people with their own inner demons, the low self-esteem and all that. I've found that I can coach people quite well just by asking them, why do you believe that, and how do you explain that? And it's called deep canvassing, which ironically was created to try and convince people to vote for trans rights. but I'm going to take that strategy and
Mm.
use them against them. Um, so yeah, it's basically just asking someone, well, how do you explain why this is so? Why do you believe this, and how does this work? And it's a very simple kind of set of questions, but it makes them stop and go, oh, yeah, if they're willing to listen, oh yeah, I guess, yeah, I don't know why I
Right.
thought that. And it does work, but yeah, you have to have someone who's willing to listen. I think most detransitioners,
Yeah.
we detransition not because someone told us, and not because we saw a lot of things about all the dangers of surgery and all that. No, it was because it was killing us. It was ruining our lives, either socially or
Mm.
medically, our health. We just got to a point where, oh, this isn't working at all. And I don't want it to
Yeah.
have to be that case. I don't want it to have to be that the only time someone's going to change their mind is when it's way too late.
Yeah, I'm have you reached out, like, do you have other detransitioners that you speak to, that you're friends with, that you communicate with?
Uh, a little bit. I mean, I've got some, well, parents contact me most, and so I give them advice or I kind of
Hmm.
workshop with them what they think would help. And one woman, she wants to help me kind of create a little business for this service, uh, sort of counseling, I guess. Um, but yeah, her daughter has just decided, she's very feminine, but decided, oh, I want to be a boy now, and I want to get all the surgery. And so her mum's freaking out, going, I don't
Oh,
think this is right at all. No, you are correct. She reached out to me after seeing me on Channel 7. And we got talking, we had a lot in common. And yeah, we were trying to say, well, how do we talk to her daughter about all of this and get her to kind of realize what she's doing. And so I did talk about deep canvassing and, trying to have those open discussions and try and get her to explain in her own words why she's making these decisions. Or I think, someone like me as a detransitioner, I'm always going to have the advantage of a parent because I can hear the arguments that the kid is making because I've already made those arguments
right.
myself and I know that they're flawed. I know where they're coming from. But yeah, no, her
Right.
idea was great. We haven't done it yet, but her mother said, okay, what if I find a transgender person and I get her to talk to that person and I'll get her to talk to you. And so I'll frame it as kind of let's have a very balanced debate, show both sides of the argument. Like, that is a great idea because it doesn't feel like I'm just,
Mhm.
drill sergeanting this child. I am just kind of going, hey, if you want to know how it can go horribly and catastrophically wrong, I'm your woman.
Yeah, if uh, that makes me wonder, like, if you could speak to a minor, a kid, or even just a young adult who's considering transitioning, like, what would you tell them if you were face to face with them?
Well, I see this a lot on the Detrans subreddit, that these kids who are questioning will come to us and say, well, I don't want to be trans, but I'm really sure that I am trans and I don't know how to deal with this. And I mean, those discussions tend to be pretty good. And so the subreddit is probably the only time I really connect with other detransitioners, other than when they contact me, mostly through my YouTube comment section. But yeah, what frightens me is when these kids will come to us and say, "Well, how do I just learn to not be trans?" And it will be really obvious shit. Like to the detransitioners will say, "Well, why do you want to be a man?" Oh, I don't really know. Okay, well, ask yourself that first. Go back to the drawing board. Think about this idea a little more thoroughly, then come back. And
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
else said, "Is it about what you wear?" Oh, yeah, yeah, I feel better in men's clothes. So just wear men's clothes. Why do you need to cut your tits off? Oh, yeah, I guess you're right.
Oh.
Fuck, oh God.
Wow.
But that's what you're dealing with.
Well,
A
these
lot of
people
these
are so
kids,
young, you know?
they're so
Yeah.
incredibly young. They're so naive. And that's
Yeah.
what breaks my heart that a lot of these kids are acting like, I'm so stressed that, I'm going to have to transition soon, that I'm going to have to go through all this trauma, but, I have to because it's the only way I'm going to be comfortable in my body. And just say, whoa, 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 sweet baby child, wait till puberty finishes
Yeah.
and you stop feeling weird. Because I'm sorry, but for the
Yeah.
next, I don't know, 5 to 7, maybe 10 years, you're going to feel really weird. I'm sorry. It's
Of
just how it
course.
is. And no one's
Yeah.
saying that. I mean, I've gotten banned from a lot of subreddits, but I got banned from the Butch Lesbian subreddit within about a week of finding it. So I'm touching my
Oh
face too much. Sorry.
no.
So the lesbian
No, you're
subreddit.
fine.
Okay. Because I'm aware that when I'm filming my own videos, I have to be very professional. And yeah, now I'm just doing whatever. Um,
Yeah, we're
but
chilling, just free flowing.
yes, good. Um, yeah. So the lesbian subreddit is a lot of handmaidens just enabling these fetishists, these perverts. These men go in there with their bloody clown wigs, their Halloween wigs, the brightly colored, wearing their wives' clothing, well, clothing probably. And they say, "Oh, you're so stunning and brave. Oh, you're so amazing. Yes, I would date you. Oh, you're so beautiful. Yes, you're very much a woman." Fuck
Yeah,
off.
just affirm it. Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
so if any
that leads me. I
lesbian,
wanted to ask, like, go
hmm,
ahead. Sorry, finish your
yeah,
thought.
any lesbian who says that's a man, I'm sorry. Oh, ban, instant ban, transphobe. You're a homophobe.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of going into it. That's what I was gonna say. I wanted to ask you, like, how has the LGBTQIA plus like treated you, like, since your detransition? Like,
Oh yeah,
has it
a
changed? Were
lot of
you in
them.
the community before or
Yeah,
whatever? Like,
yeah, I
what was your
was.
experience with that?
Yeah, a lot of them just quietly unfriended me, blocked me, didn't say a thing. Just oh, immediately, oh, you detransitioned, then you're the enemy. Why? We were friends. We spent
Mm.
hours and hours and hours talking. And then I wasn't even talking about gender critical. I wasn't turfing yet. I just said, look, being trans wasn't right for me, and I think a lot of trans people in the first year or so of being trans, they're kind of they have a soft political approach of it didn't work for me, but maybe it works for some people. No, fuck. I'm not being a handmaiden anymore. Oh, maybe it works for some other people. No, it doesn't work for anyone. I'm gonna outright say it
Yeah,
doesn't really
no
work
way.
for anyone. Some people, Buck Angel, Blair White, the poster children of this movement, does it work for them?
Hmm.
It seems to, but there's got to be health issues that they're dealing with. There's a trade off. There are
Yeah,
risks,
we don't know their personal
and
lives. We don't know all
yeah,
those details, you know?
taking wrong sex hormones will shorten your life. It will
Yeah.
greatly increase your risk of cancer, heart disease,
Yep.
stroke. So it doesn't really
Yep.
work. And you aren't really the opposite sex. I don't think. I mean, I think Buck and Blair are pretty convincing, but then you see them in person or you look close and you go, oh no, it actually just doesn't look like it looks like a very butch woman or a very effeminate man.
Mm.
Um, because there's a costume. It's drag. It is an illusion. And they will never be able to have sex. This is the way the opposite sex can. They will never have. They will never be parents the way a biologically, male or female person would. Um,
Hmm.
you cannot change your sex. So best case scenario would be like Blair, like Buck. You're pretty convincing, and that is it. That is best case scenario. You can have all the surgery you want. You can spend millions of dollars on this. Best case scenario, yeah, you look kind of convincing. It doesn't work.
Yeah, that reminds me. What the Q plus now will do is they'll gaslight, people like me who are against minors transitioning, and they'll say, like,
Mm,
why are you so obsessed with the genitals of children? Why are you so obsessed with them not being able to have healthy sex when they're older? You're the problem. You're the pervert, blah, blah, blah. Just like gaslighting, when it's like, actually, like, I
yeah,
understand biology and I understand that it'll
yeah.
just really mess up their health later. And I wonder if it's like, is it like a generational gap? Like, are the young kids, are they just like so brainwashed, or do you think it's like the older generation, like our age, who are really pushing for this stuff more?
Well, what it often is you have these trans-identified men, grown men, who groom these teenagers, especially teen girls. There's a lot of stories of these girls that they'll give their own
Yeah.
personal anecdotes of, we had this LGBT blah 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 group, and it was led by some big trans woman, and he would bully these little
Yep.
girls into believing, even if these girls were lesbians. Oh no, if you don't like a lesbian dick, then you're a transphobe, and guilting these poor little girls into
Mhm.
thinking all sorts of horrible things.
Ugh,
It's grooming. And look,
it
we're not
is.
the ones obsessed with the
It is.
where it's like it would be like someone wandering around naked through the streets, and when everyone points out that they're naked, why are you so obsessed with my nudity? Because you started it.
Yep.
It's the same thing of why you're so obsessed with
Exactly.
kids' genitals. Because you started talking about cutting their genitals off. We started talking about it because you did.
Exactly. I mean, that's the norm in San Francisco of people just walking around naked. That's the first
Mm,
time. Pride 2015. I had been to Pride before. I don't think I ever went to Pride as a minor, but that's because I didn't actually come
thankfully.
out until I was 18.
Mm.
So I kind of was in the closet for a long time.
Pride
Um,
Pride used to
but
be this family friendly event. It wasn't about this horrible, kinky, non
yep,
LGBT nonsense. It was just look, some
yep,
women love each other, some men love each other, and look, we have families as well, and that was lovely. That was a beautiful thing. And
yep.
then all of a sudden, it's this dirty, kinky. Oh, look at these mutilated people. They got their genitals out on if they still have their genitals out on display.
Right.
What the fuck?
And that's like the next step, right? Like in 2015, I saw a completely butt naked man, everything out, like just walking the streets of San Francisco Pride, and that's when I really started like, wait a second, what's going on here? And when you're in it,
It's
when
like
you're in
some
the gender
fucking
cult, you don't
It's
notice
like
as much.
Hellraiser. It's like some
Yeah.
Hellraiser shit. Like you're just surrounded by all these demons with, they got bits open,
Mm.
they got wounds, they got open wounds down there. They got pins sticking out.
It's
They got
horrible.
it. Yeah, it's like a horror show. That's what the queer community is now. Um,
Yeah.
but
It was not
uh,
like that. We did not vote for gay rights and marriage for this. We did not. This is not what we
yeah,
wanted.
and that's the sad thing. I think it is a very it was really innocent that we wanted to ask for the equal right to marriage. And a lot of these conservatives said it's going to be a slippery slope because what's next? You're going to be able to marry your dog. You can marry a donkey. And we went, oh, you're ridiculous. Well, their
Yeah, that would
argument
never
was,
happen.
yeah. Well, their argument was, was hyperbolic. It was exaggerated. But they did actually tap into a very true human logical fallacy. Um, and so that logical fallacy is that I can't remember the name of it, but essentially, well, maybe yeah, it is slippery slope. Yeah, I think it is actually officially called the slippery slope. So, okay, you've opened me up to this one idea that a man and a man could get married. All right, yeah. All right. So the next step is, so what if a man wanted to be a woman? Because you're okay with two men marrying,
Yep.
and in your mind, obviously, one of them is the woman, the bride in the marriage, right? So what if one just made himself into a woman? So that's how you
Yep.
get these very well-meaning conservative or just politically neutral, middle of the
Yeah.
road people just minding their own businesses, and then you come at them with these very complicated political questions, and so they don't know how to negotiate this. They have the internet, but they don't really know. Okay, so trans, so it's like being gay, where you just feel like you're different. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's how you put this insidious idea in someone's head, and it's just showing how naive but well-meaning the average voting public is. And
Yep.
I'm glad we have gay marriage, that I have the freedom to marry whomever I choose. Um, if I can get women to talk to me, that's step one. How do I get women to talk to me? Um, but
I think my
yeah,
audience is mostly male, so but I'm sure they're all really
if
interested in learning from you. So
if they've got advice on how to talk to the ladies, please tell me. Um, but yeah, that's where that I think partially that's where my gender dysphoria came from. I didn't really understand my feelings back then, but I want my James Bond moment. I want my Sonny Crockett moment. I want to walk into a room and I want all the ladies to look at me. But no, it's just the men looking at me, and I don't want the men to look at me. So yeah, that was my thought process. But yes,
yeah.
so it's a slippery slope of. But how do we prevent that? And how do we get out of it?
Right.
well, it was
And
always down to
now we're at if
education.
you don't affirm it, you're a problem. Oh yeah, exactly.
Mm,
It does go into education, and now it's forced onto you. You know, it's the 2 + 2 = 5 idea,
mm.
where
Yeah, so when the
where you
whole,
must believe it is 5. You must believe that a man is a woman.
oh yeah, yeah, because if you were, it's around the time of voting for gay marriage, so 2010, I guess, trans thing didn't really exist. And so the information that was spreading around about gay marriage was quite balanced. It was, okay, the left and the right are showing their side of the story. Here's the pros, here's the cons. Okay, great. Then when the trans thing rolled around, affirm, affirm, affirm. You must do this. People are going to kill themselves if you don't do that. You have to just, you got to, man. You got to let them do whatever they want. Just, you have to. What? I guess so. And the audience, the voters are already primed because of the gay marriage. Oh, I guess this is like the other gay thing. This is like another kind of gay thing, right? So the
Right.
only way to have
But
prevented
it's
this
different.
would have been, yeah, the only way to have prevented it would have been to have this balanced discussion of, okay, so some people feel that they're born in the wrong body. This is normal for children, and we've got decades of pediatricians observing this. Yes, little Billy loves wearing his mum's clothes. He loves wearing the makeup. Then he hits puberty, and everything just kind of normalizes, and he's attracted to girls, and it's fine. You know, he went through a bit of a effeminate phase. Yeah, some little boys do that, and some little girls, a lot of little girls, are tomboys, because what we prescribe as feminine is generally quite sexualized. So little girls, we don't want them to be sexualized generally, so they don't tend to do
Yeah.
what we consider as feminine. But
Right, for sure.
yeah.
And also what the
So we
Q
know
plus
that.
likes to bring back at me when I talk about like the sexualization of minors in the Q plus movement, they always bring back with like, well, what about, toddlers and tiaras and stuff like that? It's like I don't like that either.
Uh,
I don't like
yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
also
No,
not
no one.
okay.
How is
That's
that an
still
argument?
grooming.
Mm.
Oh, well, they'll try to say anything is an argument, anything except looking inwards at themselves because they've made it their entire identity. And if they have to admit that they were wrong, that means that, their reality just crumbles and they don't know where to go
Yeah,
from there, at least in my opinion.
yeah. If you're in a group that is so emotionally volatile, so the vegans, the trans, I think they're the two most notorious groups. The two were actually, and the bronies, actually, not related. I'm just saying that that's like number three worst group. But
The
anyway, or
bronies.
furries, bronies,
There's
whatever
a
they
lot
are
of
now.
creeps in there.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little weird. Okay, but okay, the two I will focus on for now: the vegans and the trans. Why are they
Make a video on
so
the bronies,
emotionally?
please.
Maybe I'll think about it. Yeah. So why are they so emotionally volatile? It's because they have built this house of cards, a very vulnerable, fragile little thing of, oh, look, it's a pyramid, right? Can you see? But a strong breeze is going to push it over. So they freak the hell out whenever there's any kind of threat or someone's questioning why, do you think this is good for kids? Oh, yeah, definitely it is. Oh, well, what are all these, the surgeries that fail? Oh, no, it never failed. They get so freaked out. They
Yeah.
think everything's an attack because they lack emotional intelligence. They lack emotional self-regulation. So they I don't think they're all narcissists. I think the word narcissist is thrown around a lot. My mother's a narcissist. I didn't even get to why I cut contact with her. Maybe we'll have time. I don't know. But yeah,
I'm in no
I think a lot of
rush.
them
I
are.
really am not.
Yeah, but yeah, the narcissists are one part of the trans community, but the other one is just people who have had abusive childhoods, who have poor self-regulation.
Yeah.
And if you can't self-regulate,
Yep.
you need external validation. There's the healthy version of that is co-regulation. Co-regulation is a great thing. So when I was dealing with PTSD and all the trauma of my injuries, I would call Phil. To this day, I still do that. Oh, I don't feel well. I need to talk to Dr. Phil. I need my Dr. Phil time. And that's
Aw.
really good, really healthy. Yeah. And that's a really healthy way of
That's sweet.
co-regulating. I can't calm down. You know, PTSD is activated. My heart's racing. I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's just not calming down. So I talk to a friend until they do calm down. That's really healthy co-regulation. The unhealthy version of that is codependency, which is where either one or two parts of a couple are very incapable of handling things themselves. They need each other, or one really needs the other, otherwise they can't function. Um, and so that's what you're seeing in the trans community is this codependency. And the weirdest thing is it's not even a one cult leader. So it's a decentralized cult with no one figurehead at the top. So what you have is this online social community that these kids are becoming codependent with. That they need the validation of this community. That they need the exposure within this community. They need it. They need the community, and they need to have
So
this
instead of
perfect
being
little
codependent with
land.
one person,
Yeah.
it's like a whole, it can be anyone. That's also very terrifying if you think about it like that, because like anyone who affirms gets the trust of the child, and that's how these predators are taking advantage of them.
Yes, exactly. And so I think the whole trans thing, the predators out there must be loving it because you got these very vulnerable kids. So these grown men, it's always men, present themselves as queer too, and oh well, you know, I can affirm you. I can, you know, your parents don't understand you. You should abandon your family. Which I was convinced to
Oof.
do that as well. Although in my case, actually, very good idea because my grandmother, last time I saw her, she told me to kill myself. So in my case, actually,
Oh my
sometimes
God.
family is bad. Yeah, but
Do you think
yeah,
that a lot of trans kids kind of go towards that way because of their rough home life?
yeah. You know, I was definitely well. I didn't realize it at the time how bad my home life was. But thinking back, it's
Yeah.
so obvious now, and that's why I spent so long talking about my mother. That I need to make it clear when you don't have a trusted role model, when you don't have someone who understands you, who's interested in you, and wants to guide you to be the
Yeah.
best version of yourself, not to be the best version of them, the best version of yourself. If you don't have that, then you start looking everywhere. And I did that. You know, cosplay was that to a degree that I could dress up as all these other characters, male characters. I could become these men that I idolize and connected with because I never had any women that I
Yeah.
really connected with. And the media is to blame as well. You know, how often do you get female characters as complex and as interesting as the male characters? There
Right.
is, I would say, there's two examples that I was watching at the time. There was Orphan Black, and there was Once Upon a Time. And they weren't girly. I mean, even Once Upon a Time, it's Disney, it's princesses. No, these female characters were really good, really interesting, really different from each other. And then Orphan Black was the same.
Wait,
That all these women were,
is
yeah,
that the one with like Storybrooke?
yeah, sorry, Brooke, yeah,
Does that? Oh yeah, I watched that. Oh man, that was years
a
ago.
million years.
Wow,
Well, this
that
is when
like
I was
brings. I
trans,
haven't thought
yeah,
about that in forever.
yeah, it
Wow.
was a cute
Okay. Yeah, I
show.
know that show.
So
Yeah.
honestly, you know, I was watching that when I'd already transitioned, but I feel like, well, if I was seeing something like Orphan Black, which had very interesting, all played by one woman, but all very diverse, very interesting women, and then
Hmm.
having a show like Once
I have
Upon
to
a
look that up.
Time, where, yeah, really good show. And then particularly Regina in Once Upon a Time, so freaking cool. Everyone wants to be Regina, right? But I didn't
Yeah.
have that kind of role model growing up. I didn't see really cool, empowered women ironically until
Yeah.
after I transitioned. It's just when those shows happened to come out, I guess. So yeah, if you have shitty parents, if you aren't seeing yourself represented in the media, you're already building up this dissociation. And I think a lot of gender dysphoria is just dissociation. I was going to say that before. So
Yeah.
you're either gay or you have auto heterosexual urges, feelings. So our auto gynophilia, auto androphilia, just to make it clear for everybody. And I think I am or was my next video I filmed it is about autoandrophilia and how realizing
What's
that was a
that?
big motivator for me. So that's being turned on by the idea of yourself being the opposite sex. So
Hmm.
autogynophilia, gyno, that's a man who's turned on by the idea of being a woman. The sad thing is, a lot of these men
Interesting.
are well, they're not even informed of what autogynephilia is. They don't know what it is. The trans community wants to bury it because it's disgusting. It's not real. It's one of the most common kinds of transsexuality. There's two kinds. There's gay, and there's heterosexual,
Yeah.
or there's both. I think I kind of overlap the two. So a
I
lot of
mean, that
these
makes
men will go,
sense, you know? That makes
yeah.
sense to me, actually.
But you never get
You
asked.
know, and
I don't think a
when
lot
you're
of
with
doctors
the
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And it's not something that people talk about a lot because it's almost like they're preying on this thought pattern that I mean, I don't speak for every gay person, but I know in my
Mm.
own gay experience, like of course you think about like, when I'm with a woman, I think like what would it be like if I was the male here, you know?
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of like they're preying on that and they're like pushing it, and they're
Well,
making it,
especially
perverted to perverse and twisted to the point where like you
hmm,
change your entire self.
yeah. Especially, okay, I was talking about the butch lesbian subreddit. So that was nice. Initially, I went, "Oh, look, there's no men here. There are no men trying to get validation because they don't want to be butch women. They want to be femme women, lipstick lesbians, if you will." But then, little by little, I noticed, oh yeah. Little by little, I noticed that, oh, these are all self-loathing trans men. And I made a comment. Well, I didn't make comments
Really?
for a while. One time, I just went, "Look, this is really sad.
Hmm.
Why are you all trying to become men? We're lesbians. We love women. We love women's bodies. Why do we want to become little men?" Immediately banned. And then the mod was an absolute bitch and didn't want to talk to me at all. "Oh, you're such a transphobe and a homophobe, and enjoy your ban, and I hope you learn some empathy." I'm like, hang on, whoa, whoa, whoa. If you actually wanted to talk to me, I could tell you a lot of things that would blow your mind. I was trans. Some people might even say I am still trans. That's the interesting thing. So I tell people that I still deal with gender dysphoria from time to time. "Oh, so are you still trans?"
Of course.
Depends how you slice it. Um,
Wow.
but
There's
yeah.
a special place in hell for Reddit mods. That's all I have to
Mm,
say. I got
oh
beef,
yeah, it'd be
okay?
good. Yeah, yeah. They don't want to hear anything. They just oh bye. I don't want to deal with it. Um,
No.
yeah. So when you go to
I'll
a
tell you
doctor
that story
about
another time. That's not on this subject.
yeah, yeah, we got to do another episode, I think. But yeah, when you go to a
For
doctor and
sure.
you want to transition, they never ask, "Are you gay? Are you turned on by the idea of being the opposite sex?" And yeah, I think a lot of we used to call it stone butch, stone butch lesbians. They were a little uncomfortable having their bodies touched while having sex. They like to have a strap on, or they would have sex with a very effeminate small woman, and that was empowering to them. So it's kind of a precursor to
Hmm.
gender dysphoria. So
Yeah.
this whole big pharma is taking advantage of an insecurity that gay people already have.
Yeah.
And is it normal to be
Definitely.
gay? Well, we've observed it for thousands of years. In some cultures, like the
Hmm.
Spartans, that was normal. They even encouraged it. It was a rite of passage. So it's natural as far as we can tell, but it does leave you feeling a little frustrated, a little heartbroken. "Oh, I can't start a family with my wife the traditional way. We'll never have our
Yeah.
own children as a heterosexual couple can. We will never have a
Right.
lot of things that heterosexuals have." Oh, of course you'd feel that way. Um,
Yeah.
but
And of
because
course,
we
I
have,
know that if I marry a woman, I'm giving up that ability,
yeah,
to bear my own children. I mean, I guess I could, we have the science, we have the technology, but it would never
mm,
be half of
not
mine and
quite
half
this.
of my
Yeah,
my wife's. So I
yeah,
understand that like if I marry a woman one day, I'm giving up that, but that's okay because there are lots of babies that I would love to adopt anyway. So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And I think that's maybe why there's a going theory. There are many theories, but one theory I like is that homosexuality was kind of making additional aunts and uncles and babysitters in the family. Yeah, if you have a tribe of let's say 100 people, and most of them are heterosexual. So I think what's the distribution? It's like about 90% of people, or 95%, are heterosexual. Okay, but then you have that 5%
Mhm.
who are single, who are gay, you are ensuring that you always have additional parental figures for the tribe's babies. And I think, yeah,
Yep.
okay, that I could believe that makes a lot of sense. Um, so because we don't have a hard, concrete explanation of what gay is, that has made it really difficult to disseminate and pull apart the trans arguments because they go, well, if you'll do this for the gays, why won't you do it for us? But anyway,
Mm.
I was talking about the oh god, because it was the Reddit and then the whole so the auto gyno um yeah, I think it's quite normal for gays to actually have that auto heterosexuality because well, what if I was able to? Well, Blair White actually talks about this that he is dating a straight man. The sad irony is that most gay men, even though they are effeminate, if I may say, a lot of them are attracted to manly men. Well, there are very few
Mm-hmm.
manly gay men. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of them would love to get with a straight man. Well, how do you get with a straight man? Become a woman. The incels call it tranny maxing, and yeah, it's kind of sad that it's so they're so open about it that well, if I can't get
Yeah.
with the kind of man I want, I'll become the kind of woman that he wants. Whereas
Yeah, I definitely
the
think there's some of that in the trans community for sure.
but the
Definitely.
trans identified females, to me, it seems overwhelmingly that what they want to do is protect themselves from sexual trauma. I don't see a lot of lesbians who are doing this so that they could maybe attract a straight woman, because I think the way gay women tend to
Mm.
present is uh, not one thing. You've got quite a spectrum there. You know, the lipstick lesbian, the butch. There's a lot of lesbians you wouldn't even know were lesbians, and there's a lot of straight women who
Yeah.
look so butch, not lesbians. So for
That's
whatever
true.
reason,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
love
don't
them. They're the
know.
go-getters of the straight community for
Yes,
sure. Love that.
I
I
love a
personally
butch.
love androgynous golden retrievers.
Yes, I love mums with short haircuts. As a kid, I always my cousin's mum. So my auntie sort of is friend of the family. Like I call her my cousin, but she isn't actually. But friend of the family. But I'd always look at her mother and go, "What?" But she looks like a man. But you can do that. Obviously, my mum was always critical of. This is her friend, by the way, but she's always critical of. Oh,
Yeah,
she should grow out her hair and she should wear makeup. Yeah, no.
yeah.
But yeah, see,
Like
why didn't I have a mum
projecting
like
kind of.
that? Yes, why didn't I have a mum like
Yeah,
that?
I understand. It's okay.
uh, well, I
I
guess
think
my
you turned out
final,
pretty good.
yeah, I think we've covered everything. It's about 90 minutes, but yeah, my final thing will be just why I stopped talking to my mother. Would be so yeah, had this colonoscopy, if you remember, had internal bleeding, and I was saying I was nervous about it, and I didn't tell her when it was because the last time I had seen her was when she picked me up from an MRI, and I said, oh,
Hmm.
Mum, maybe you're right that I do have PTSD because I was freaking out. It was so hard for me to just lie down and get the MRI. The first MRI I had was actually it was a kind of meditation. You just lie there, focus on the sound. But this second one, oh, it was much worse. That wasn't your second one. Yeah, it was. No, that's your third one. When was the other one? And then we had this back and forth discussion. She's immediately getting really aggressive. That was your third one. Okay, but when was the other one? Oh, I don't know. And then I kept asking, if you don't shut the fuck up, if you don't shut the fuck up, I will bash your fucking skull. And she said it over and over and over, screaming at the top of her lungs. She's picked me up from
What the?
hospital or, the MRI.
Oh.
Oh my God. And then, so she wants to pick me up from the colonoscopy and go, no, I'm good, actually. A friend of mine, I just said a friend of mine will be picking me up. She immediately knew it was Tim. She calls Tim. A few hours later, Tim calls me and says, your mum's been sending me messages and it's all like little sad face emojis. I'm really concerned about my daughter. She's acting crazy. She needs her mother
Oh.
to be there. And I just went, oh,
Oh
what the
no.
fuck? Anyway,
Yeah.
So mum doesn't know where I'm going, and that's the last time I speak. One of the last times I speak to her because I asked. Oh, 'cause I asked her for an apology on the phone about the MRI. She's asking about when the colonoscopy is. Well, I'm your mother. I should be there. Well, what about the MRI, mum? Are you going to apologize for that? Well, maybe you deserved it. I hung up. Didn't speak to her ever
Oh
again. I
my
mean, I sent her an
God.
email
What?
telling her that she's a loser, but yeah. So, well, I went and visited. So Tim picked me up, took me home. It was all fine. Turns out my inflammation markers were extremely high, but they didn't find anything. So I think it's just food poisoning. There was nothing serious. So I'm all good, guys, for now. So the next bad thing happened. But I went and visited her parents, my grandparents, who I love. And my grandmother, my nana, had been harassing me a lot on Facebook Messenger about, you should apologize to your mother, and we're already worried about you, and you're losing your brain, you're losing your mind because when I woke up from the colonoscopy, I was tripping balls. I had a bad reaction to the anesthesia. So I imagine the hospital was on fire and that big boss, Snake, from Snake Eater, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, he was there and I was calling out his name. The doctors, I'm calling Snake, Snake, and the
Snake.
doctor, Snake, dun dun dun. Yeah, I wasn't doing that far. Yeah, so I'm just fucking tripping balls and seeing this, and Snake's not helping me. The hospital's on fire, man. What are you doing? But yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. They can't wake me up. They're hearing me scream Snake. So they have to knock me out again. I wake up again an hour later. Tim's in the waiting room going, what the fuck is going on? She said she'd be ready at, 12:45. It's now nearly 2 o'clock. What is happening? Just to give you an example, I don't know what the exact time was. If I got lawyers listening, I don't know. But yeah, so I told the internet about that. I drew a picture of what I hallucinated. Really funny story, guys. My mother saw that, and then she told my grandmother about that. And she's crazy. She's losing. She's not got any connection with reality. She's hang on. I used to think I was a robot when I was transgender, and you didn't say anything. But now I am high on drugs, and I see Big Boss, and I'm losing my mind. Like, what the what the fuck?
Oh my
But
gosh.
anyway, I go and
When
visit
was
my
this?
grandparents. So this was it last year or the year before? Yeah, no, because it's 2 years of hell. Yeah, because my house was broken into 2 years ago as of January. So yeah, this is all within the 2 year period. So that was just last year. Oh god. Um, and so yeah, I visit my grandparents.
Poor
Granddad's great.
thing.
He loves me. Thinks the sun shines out of my ass.
Nice.
But
Oh,
my
I love
yeah,
that.
he's a sweet one. But my grandmother, normally I love her, really respect her. She's great. But she's sending me all these messages on Messenger. Saying, I'm really depressed. I've got PTSD. I'm not feeling very well, Nana. Oh well, basically suck it up, go kill yourself, all that stuff. Whoa, who? And I thought, is my mum using
What?
her mother's messenger account? Is my mum messaging me through her mother's account? Because it did not sound like my grandmother at all. This
Wow.
is not the woman I know.
Yeah.
No, I visit my grandmother, and I don't recognize. She's like, no, I meant all of that. Your mother's told me all about it. So yeah, that's what a narcissist does. That she convinced everyone around
Mm.
her. Oh well, the black sheep. Oh, they're bad. They're really bad for some reason. Everyone believes it. So yeah, my grandmother.
Mm.
I mean, she's in her 90s, and I mean, she's pretty sharp. But I think at that point, she just believed everything my mother said. And I told her,
Yeah.
your daughter has been abusing me for years. And she's like, nah, you're a liar. Okay, I'm done. I am done with this family.
Mm.
I just walked away. Um, and my brother talked to me for a little while after that, but then he's gone silent as well. So I don't know, man. But yeah, family was definitely a huge reason why I felt profoundly alone my whole life, that I've been grasping for anything that could give me a sense of family, belonging, understanding. And I think
Sure.
there's a lot of trans people out there who feel the exact same way. And the trans church seemed like a beautiful salvation.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm so sorry to hear that. I can't imagine seeing my daughter, go through such terrible things and act this way and not feel, try to empathize. And
Yeah,
chat, I didn't even tell you. Like Courtney went through something called a false pregnancy, what, 5 times? And this
four,
isn't
five,
to be
yeah, four,
confused
yeah,
with a miscarriage.
yeah.
This is not to be confused with a miscarriage. It is when
Thankfully,
your hormone levels are so fucked that like your body responds like it's pregnant and it's not. And like this is
mm,
just another trauma she's had to go through. I cannot believe like you've been through this and
yeah.
I hope that you had a support system through that experience too. And this is
Not
just
really.
I
I had
wanted
to just
to
hide
speak with you
away.
about it. Yeah, can we talk about that a little bit before we head
Yeah.
out?
So what
Like
happens
what?
the
Yeah,
menstrual
how'd that
cycle?
happen?
So I can't remember all off by heart, but your estrogen and progesterone, so the estrogen's higher than the progesterone, but they're kind of going along, they're marching along the month in a straight line. And then what's supposed to happen when you reach the week before the period is your estrogen drops, and then the progesterone, no, estrogen drops lower than the progesterone. This is all from the top of my head, but there's something about there's a change, and there's supposed to be a very perfect ratio. You're not supposed to mix it up. But my body was not doing that. So what would happen is, so estrogen, progesterone, going along, chugging along, and then estrogen plummets way lower than it should. Progesterone kept going.
Hmm.
So the body thinks, oh, pregnant. And false
Wow.
pregnancies are very misunderstood because sometimes it can be psychologically created that women are so convinced that they're pregnant. Maybe they're trying to get pregnant. Maybe they've had a miscarriage. Maybe they have some sort of trauma. You'll see this. I think it was a Dr. Phil episode on a woman who had a false pregnancy, and it was just she was clearly not pregnant. It was fat, a lot of abdominal fat. It was soft fat. It wasn't bloating, which is what I got, the bloating. Which I think what happened when I was trans is that I had such continual bloating that I think something to do with the abdominal wall has expanded so that when I bloat, it is ridiculous. I think bloating for most people normally, your waist is going to expand by about 10 centimeters. Mine's about 15, 20, maybe more. 20, I think, was my record there. But you just look
Wow.
huge. You look like you're in the second trimester. Um,
Yeah.
but so what's happening is that I thankfully, it's still dependent on the menstrual cycle in my case. So the false pregnancy, I mean, the first one, because I just stopped taking testosterone, I don't think my periods had come back normally. My menstrual cycle wasn't kicking me out of that. There was nothing to reset the cycle. So I was just sort of getting my progesterone, estrogen going normal, and then okay, now we've fallen into a real deep ditch, and then I stayed like that for about a month to the point that I had to buy maternity shorts. I just had to buy clothes that I could freaking wear. All those strangers
And
were,
you
were making
stopped
comments. Oh, you got a
tea?
cute bump and all that. So I'd stop. Do not stop
Dude,
taking
yeah, I mean, a
testosterone
lot of people
and birth
don't know what
control
that is.
at the same time. Yeah, so testosterone, and I was on birth control because I was on a really low dose of testosterone. So I had to take birth control to stop the periods. I don't. What the fuck was I thinking?
I
It's
see.
all synthetic chemicals. It's all really bad for you. But I just trusted doctors so blindly. I was very naive.
So your
I've
doctor
had to grow up
told
a lot.
you to stop testosterone cold turkey and start
No,
estrogen immediately? Your doctor did that?
no, no. That's the thing. Is you tell a doctor I want to detransition, and they go, off you go. I don't know what
What?
to do with this. Please don't sue me. Goodbye. They will drop you like a hot potato.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
And
So you
oh
had
yeah,
no guidance whatsoever. So you just quit
I was
cold
good.
turkey and your body
Yep.
responded.
Yeah, and it was
This is a
horrifying. I
medical
mean, you.
anomaly.
Yeah, I mean, you wake up and so I think when I was detransitioning, I actually felt quite good initially because I had all this estrogen flooding into my body. I had more energy. I had big titties. It was pretty great. I'd never had big titties before. Yeah, but then turns out I had big titties because they were full of milk. So I'm starting to lactate and going, what the fuck? So lactation
Oh
started
my
first.
God.
Yes, I didn't know about having
Oh,
to express the milk. I didn't know. I'm trying to like push it out and kind of massage it, but I didn't know there's like
of course
these
you didn't
little
know.
suction. I don't know anything about this. Oh my god! But I was
Of
really clucky.
course.
I was very clucky. I looked at. I like my baby sense was really. There's a baby. There's another baby. I want a baby. Give me a baby. It was really all
Really?
I wanted to do was
That is
yeah. All I wanted to
interesting.
do yeah. I'd never been maternal, but I really wanted
Huh.
babies. I wanted to pick up every baby I saw. um, so yeah,
Wow,
just
that
you're,
instinct really kicked in, you know? That's nature really
and that's
kicking
the
in.
amazing
But I
thing.
mean, obviously, this is.
Well, I think what makes me really aware of logical fallacies, the limitations of the human brain, it makes me just, I have the monkey brain that's angry and offended sometimes. Well, just monkey brain. Just observe. Let's have a conversation with the other person. Maybe never attribute to malice what could be stupidity or ignorance or just misunderstanding. And I'm better. I follow that principle now better than ever. Because I do realize,
I
sometimes you're
appreciate that.
hungry, you're tired, you're sick, you've got stress going on at home. It's just you're not having a good day. And then in my case, well, when I was on testosterone, I had a whole different set of urges and desires, and just I'm choking here. Sorry, choking on my own rage here.
Oh, you carry yourself
So
very well.
yes. Thank you. So when I had the false pregnancy, then suddenly, well, I want to become a mother. I wasn't really attracted to men, but I realized there was this biological need. So I had this real confusion of, well, I'm attracted to women, but I can't start a family with a woman, and my hormones are telling me that I should find a man, but I'm not attracted to men, and I'm going in this weird.
Hmm.
I just didn't know. But my mother was taking advantage of that and going, well, see, finally, you want to be just like me. You want to be a mother too, because obviously all she wants is me to be her. Um,
Wow.
so,
That is the
mm,
worst way to react to that. That is
oh yeah,
insane.
But the thing is, you keep going to your parents because your instincts, your brain chemistry is wired to go to your parent. Your parent is the safe person, the person you can trust,
Yeah.
even when they aren't. It's really sad that even abused children will still go back to their abuser because it's just
Yeah.
so hardwired into us that, well, the parent must be safe. They're always safe. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, well, but my
How
brother
did that
told
affect
me,
your private life? Yeah, with your family
yeah,
and
well,
like with your friends. Like how did that affect during that time?
the false pregnancy, yeah. I just want to say first of all that, yeah. So
Of
my middle
course, yeah.
brother
Go
told
ahead.
me, that he overheard my mum bitching to someone, probably my nana, on the phone. God, Courtney just calls me every day, complaining about her problems. Hang on, but I'm only calling you every day because you said you wanted me to call you every day because I don't contact you enough. She complained. You only call me. You never call me. I have to call you. Okay, well, I'll call you. And now she's complaining. Oh, Jesus Christ. It wasn't every day. It was like every other day, I should say. But anyway, so false pregnancy. Yeah. So I was living in an apartment, and I was friends with most of the people in this apartment building. So I'm having to sneak out the back door. Wasn't going out the front door. Wearing loose clothing, mostly. But yeah, just having to avoid any contact with anyone else. Didn't tell anyone. Then I did tell my family. They didn't see me in person. Oh, I think once I had to go out with them, and I was quite significantly pregnant looking. Um, but yeah, my mum had this weird reaction of, well, yeah, it's a nice fantasy. I wish you were actually pregnant. So it's weird.
Oh man.
And yeah, didn't hang out with any friends, although I told them about it. And then it was many months later that I think it was the second false pregnancy, 6 months later or whatever, that I actually posted to my social media the photo of my first false pregnancy and saying, so I'm gonna share this. I'm quite embarrassed about it, but I think it needs to be spoken about because I think a lot of, well, if any detrans woman has experienced the same thing, she's probably too embarrassed to talk about it because it's alarming. It's this body horror.
I understand. I I think that, you're going to have a lot of support in the future, you know.
Mm.
I
I'm getting there. I'm
I
getting there.
hope that you've gotten the
I'm
support
sorry,
that
I'm
you
coughing.
deserve. Like
Mm.
I No, you're fine. I
Okay.
what was, what's been the general rhetoric, when you've shared, these stories and your past?
Generally, it's pretty
People
positive, or
have
at
been
least to
supportive,
my
right?
face. At my YouTube channel,
Ugh.
it's like a little fan club. I've got my little fan club, my space cowboys, I call them. It's kind of
Oh.
this little cozy, yeah, a little cozy hangout. People just look forward to hearing me talk. Yeah, it's this nice little. I got 4,000 subscribers. I guess to get my message out there and to make an impact, more would be better. But I love look, the number I have right now is quite ideal because I recognize familiar faces. We all just hang out in the comments section, so it's quite nice. Um, and people. Well, so the ABC contacted me to get on their very pro-trans documentary, and they weren't particularly sympathetic when I was telling them about stuff. I mean, they were maintaining neutrality. I didn't. It didn't raise any red flags for me. It wasn't they were indifferent. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry to hear that. But Channel 7 was definitely more because it was a detrans documentary they were making. They were more sympathetic. And, wow, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But they still were pushing this idea that I want to be a trad wife. They were more conservative
Mhm.
in that
I see.
respect. So yeah, it's been interesting seeing what the major news organizations do with my story. That it's not the humanity isn't so much there. I am yet again a political pawn, just for a different agenda. And what
Mm.
agenda that is and how they frame it is very interesting. So I don't regret putting my hand up to get on anything. Earlier this week, I was on oh god, I can't remember the name, but it's this very indie news source, and they get all sorts of very extremist people involved. And I was like, this is wild. Okay, and yeah, so I want
Was
to
that
just get
fun?
involved. I think it was. They're actually a nice crowd. We have a lot in common, and I think that's
Cool.
we spoke about this too. Oh god, I can't remember the news media, something news media. But anyway, what I realized, what we all realized is, well, you divide things into right wing and left wing. You're reducing very complicated arguments into good or bad, left or right.
Yeah.
Black and white thinking is very tribalist, and that's the way they want society to run because it's very easy to sway people. But you talk to
Yep.
individuals, I don't think you're going to get two of the same perspectives. You talk to two trans people, you talk to two detrans people. We don't all have the same
Yep.
perspective. And so that's why I want to continue to get on as many different news sites, channels, whatever, because I think it's a really great demonstration of how the same story can be framed in totally different ways. This is my social experiment to show I will only ever present myself as myself, 100% true. I live by the tenet of truth. Okay, but
Yep.
how do other people decide to listen to that truth? And so far, it's been really eye opening.
Yeah, I'm sure. Especially if you're on like certain um like podcasts that are, a little more political, leaning one way or the
Mm,
other.
yeah.
I like to think of myself as very moderate, pretty in the middle, the old school
I've become
libertarian,
that
but
way.
I've
Yeah,
taken,
yeah.
you know, it's like the political division is so stark now because it's like you can't be just left anymore. You have to be like far left, and anything
Mm.
at all other than far left is like right wing extremist Trump MAGA.
I
And it's like
know.
there's nuance here.
Well, I've talked to people with the MAGA hats, MAGA, MAGA. But you just have a conversation. You don't even talk about politics. You just chat with them. Oh yeah, just a person,
Oh
really.
yeah,
And I think politics
exactly.
is this very it's inhuman. It takes advantage of a lot of tribalism and logical fallacies, and so it's framing this all in a way that the human brain isn't really equipped to deal with. And so yeah,
Mm,
hopefully the more channels I appear on, the more obvious this will become that our political views are the thing that are often the thing standing in the way of understanding. And that is it. We're all
of
human.
course.
But when you start making factions and tribes and all of that, yeah, that's when it gets much more heated and passionate. But
Yeah, we're really not that far evolved, and we have so much
no.
technology, and the humans weren't meant to be this connected with each other, and be able to talk to 1,000 people at once on your
Mm,
phone. So it really overwhelms the brain and overstimulates you, and that's how your emotions can get taken advantage of.
mm. Oh, sorry, no. I yeah, this eye was damaged. So sometimes I have to wear an eye patch because it doesn't blink properly. Sometimes, yeah. It's never a dull
Oh,
moment with me. Yeah, although I get to wear an eye patch like my hero Snake in Metal Gear, so it's fine. Um, but the other thing I wanted to mention was the gender dysphoria. Yeah, since detransitioning. So initially, because I went super femme and I had the false pregnancies and all that going on, I had no gender dysphoria at all. I think I was just uncomfortable about. Oh, I guess I'm admitting defeat, and now I have to be a woman and do all these womanly things and wear bras and all this shit that I hate. And I didn't think about it in terms of gender dysphoria. But then later, it did emerge, especially when I was sort of exploring my sexuality and then feeling like, oh, well, I wish I could have sex the way a man does, and I wish I could have those sorts of relationships with women, and that's not possible. So there was
yeah,
that dysphoria. But then, yeah, the autoandrophilia was there, and I think it is gender dysphoria, autoandrophilia, autogynephilia. I think it's all part of the same thing of just not feeling comfortable or satisfied with your biological sex and finding it more exciting to be the opposite sex. There's something arousing about it. And so if there's a lot of trans identified men who get their penises removed and they wake up and realize, oh, well, this isn't exciting anymore. I don't have a sex drive, so this isn't arousing. There's a lot of men with this castration fetish, or they want to get a neo vagina, and that's a really erotic thought to them. But then when they make that a reality, well, they've castrated themselves. They're not going to get aroused by
yeah,
anything. And they realize, oh, so I
yeah.
wasn't really a woman at all. And that's the sad thing of, well, doctors need to know what auto heterosexuality is. And that most trans people, I would say most, are either gay, auto het, or both. And that needs to be the very first thing they ask before anything else.
I wonder if people who are, stuck in a sense of misery because they have done these things to their own body, I wonder if that's what kind of pushes them to like keep the trend going almost like in a kind of watch the
Mm.
world burn kind of way, like oh,
I
just let
think
it
it's
happen to the kids, let it happen to everyone.
a sunken cost fallacy. So again, that's another logical fallacy. So
Hmm.
sunken cost is where
Yeah, yeah.
you have sunk so much money or time or your body into a belief. So to turn around and just abandon that takes a lot. That's very painful. That's a very difficult thing for someone
Yeah.
to face. That everything you've built your life upon is a lie, is wrong, and you've been hurting yourself and you've been hurting other people. Um,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of doctors. There's a podcast called Peak Human Podcast, and this guy gets a lot of doctors who are pro keto on there. And a lot of these doctors will talk about, I have this deep regret for all the patients that I have hurt because I was, giving diabetics insulin instead of telling them to eat less processed food and, all that stuff. And I think a lot of doctors are going to have that regret about transitioning, especially children, but transitioning anyone. They, oh, well, I didn't know any of this. So not only will you have trans adults with the sunken cost fallacy, but you'll have doctors with that as well, that they'll double down. No, I was doing the right thing. I know what I'm doing. And you will see that in the documentary on Channel 7, the Spotlight documentary that I review on my channel recently. And there is a doctor on there. I call him a weenie. I don't remember what his actual name is, but he's clearly, you can see in his eyes and his tone of voice that, oh, no, no, I'm doing the right thing. It works really well. It's amazing. It's perfect. You don't sound so confident, pal. Um,
Yeah.
and I was talking to this trans woman, and she was on the ABC documentary, and he reached out to me, and so we hung out for a little bit. Um, unusual guy, but yeah, he in his 40s decided to transition into a woman, even though he had a wife and children. Okay, but we've had discussions about,
Oh
well, what about
man.
trans children? Yeah, he's one of those. And then I said, well, but what about the children? You think that's fine that they'll castrate these kids before they've reached sexual maturity? No, I've heard from these transgender teenagers and the young adults, they're having the best sex of their lives. They're having amazing sex. I don't think they are, man. I've never heard that. Citation needed. Yeah, he was so
Yeah, I
insistent.
X to doubt.
Mm.
And like, wait,
Y-
that's like red flags as fuck. Like, why are you talking to these kids about their sex life? You're not their doctor. You're not the parents.
Uh,
Like it's
no,
just
no, he's
it's
a
all just fucked up. And like, I'm not even
yeah. Oh, he was a pediatrician, and then he's a genetic something. So he did, at least there's that.
okay. Well, there are plenty that take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That are going after kids to speak about these things, and yeah, these kids, they might be feeling that euphoria, but that doesn't mean that they have a healthy, intimate life with their partners.
Why have we
It's
forgotten that kids are dumb? Kids are really fucking dumb. I mean,
yo,
I
half
was
the population
extremely
is
dumb.
below average IQ. I'm just saying.
Look,
I'm just
I
saying.
get told all the time, Courtney, you're so smart, and I say, fuck no. If I'm smart, we are fucked. What? I am. I'm scared. I am scared. If
Hey,
I'm the smart one.
girl, you got out of it, and that shows resilience and strength and intelligence. It was
Yes.
just feelings are hormones are a dangerous drug. Your own
Hell of a drug.
hormones, not just synthetic. So
Oh, yeah, I can tell you.
you know
But yeah, very high libido now. So I don't know what, like, ovulation is just oh my god,
oh,
twice a day I gotta take care of business. I'm running out of time to do other things. And then
I won't
my
keep you too long then, but I wanted to ask
yeah,
you
but
what your period is
yeah,
like, and like living life as a woman now afterwards.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
I
mean
was
to
about to
cut you
say,
off.
yeah,
Finish that, but that's
brings
the
us
question I had.
actually brings us quite naturally to the next. Yeah, so my menstrual cycle, 2 weeks where I'm feeling pretty good, no issues whatsoever. Then ovulation, just I'm very extremely horny. It is just I can't. I'm at work and I'm just like, oh my god, there's only 7 more hours to my shift and I can't sit comfortably. And it's just, oh my god,
Oh my
because I still get priapism, so just the erection of the female tissue is just you just gotta find a comfortable spot here.
So that's
That's just
something that testosterone like gave you permanently?
yeah. So it's not
Is that
permanent in
what?
terms of I have a
Huh.
permanent boner, but it means that I am capable
Yeah.
of getting that very erect tissue that it
Huh.
persists for too long, because I think when a man normally has an erection, well, it's minutes, if an hour. If symptoms persist, see a doctor. But
I don't know, fellas in the chat. I don't
yeah,
know. I'm just kidding. Don't answer that. Actually,
don't
don't
have to.
answer that.
I'm kind of curious. I don't know. I'm the devil. She's the angel on your shoulder. You make up your mind, man. What are you gonna do? Uh, um, yeah. So ovulation, I can be quite just agitated, very energetic. My workouts are great though. I've got so much just this feeling of it's not anxiety. I guess it is anxiety. I'm very intense. This tensity goes into my workouts. So,
Hmm.
that's really good. But yeah. Then there's the period, and so the period for a while there, I was just, and I need to make a video on this. I was suffering so horribly that either I would get a false pregnancy, and the period would be really late, like 40-day cycle. So
Hmm. Wow.
there would be about 2 weeks. It wouldn't even just be a week of a period. You'd have 2 weeks of leading up to it that I feel depressed, suicidal, just mentally unstable, can't focus, can't sleep, barely function, missing a lot
Hmm.
of work. And so I'm going to all these doctors. One woman's she suggested SSRIs, but she should see shit. That's hard to say. She suggests antidepressants for freaking everything, even though they're the worst thing ever. So then I went to the women's health clinic, and then
Yeah.
she gave me, the other doctor gave me a very low dose of birth control, and so I was microdosing that during my period to see if that made a difference. The first period I tried
Mm-hmm.
that, actually I feel okay, but I think it was placebo because the next period when I started microdosing again during that week, very heavy bleeding, lasted over a week, felt like absolute shit. So I went, okay, no, I'm not taking estrogen. And I was very reluctant to do that because I've already taken the testosterone and been burned by that. So then
Of
I
course,
started
yeah.
doing all this research into all the alternative natural medicine, which I think is good stuff. So I've been doing the phytoestrogen cream. So I don't have to take anything orally because I've got a very sensitive stomach. Oh yeah, my immune system will never be the same. My food tolerances will never be the same after testosterone.
Hmm.
But
Do
yes,
you get sick a lot?
oh no, actually. So going carnivore, my immune system is really good in terms of I got a cold for the first time. So when I got out of hospital, I kept getting colds because they gave me an immunosuppressant thing. Um, so after that, I had colds a few times in a row, then nothing for about a year. And then I just recently, the other month, when I had to move house, got my period and got a cold at the same time. I was having a good time of it. Um, but otherwise, yeah, my immune system's great. It's just it's too good. It's overreactive, so it will freak out to um xenobiotic foods. So endobiotic would be something similar to your body. So meat, dairy, you can find similar things in your body. Plants, fruits, vegetables, medication, anything. My body freaks out because it goes foreign, foreigner, foreigner. I don't know. Um, so yeah,
I see.
yeah, so the period last period I did, that's when I was trying the phytoestrogen. It was really good actually. I mean, I had a cold. I had to move house. I was working. I was just absolutely dog tired, but I was doing fine actually. The period was pretty mild, so I think I might, fingers crossed, might have actually figured out what I need to do when doctors really couldn't. Because well, my issue is they don't do what do you call it? I guess holistic. They don't look at the whole picture. They don't do medicine as
Yeah.
in looking at the whole body and how it all. Functional medicine, I think, is a branch which does not get Medicare coverage. A functional medicine is basically that, where they go, okay, everything is your metabolism. Every issue you have, metabolism. So let's look at that instead of after the car accident, I was sent to so many specialists for the head trauma, the hearing loss, the leg, and you waste so much time that way because some of these problems overlap and they go, oh well, sorry, we can't really do that, we'll send you to the other specialist. You wait weeks, months to see them. Oh sorry, actually it's not really my thing. You got to go to the other specialist. Oh my god, why don't you train doctors to just do everything?
Yeah, that's really wild. I definitely think that there should be more holistic healing. So what's your routine now? So you're microdosing this cream, so that's working out for you, and you do carnivore. You mentioned
Yeah.
meditation. What's your holistic routine that's really helped you get on track with your health after
Yeah,
the
so
testosterone?
yeah, when I was on testosterone, well, I think no, yeah, I was still on testosterone, but then I heard Michaela Peterson talking about the carnivore diet on Joe Rogan, and I just went,
Mm-hmm.
well, I've got nothing to lose. I'm so ill. I'm just trapped in bed all day, every day. I'll give it a go. Immediately felt better, and then over time, the gender dysphoria went away. I came off the testosterone, and then the carnivore could really do a lot of the other benefits. I used to have. Did I have autism? The symptoms of autism. I developed that in my teens, not as a kid. Carnivore seemed to reverse that. I don't have any of that. I mean, I'm a weirdo, but I don't have sensory or social issues. But yeah. So my routine now is so the diet. Obviously, carnivore. I eat once or maybe twice a day. Fasting's really good for you. Megadosing the vitamin D every couple of days. Lying in the sun completely naked. I thought we don't get enough sun exposure. And
Hmm.
uh, I do red light therapy, but I get up for my work starts at 7, so I'm up at around sunrise anyway. So I'm naturally exposing myself to the natural rays of the sun. So my circadian rhythms are amazing. I wear the blue light glasses at night. I have the red light therapy in the morning while I'm having a shower in the afternoon. So like clockwork, 9:30 at night, I am so ready for bed. Very rarely, unless I was having issues with PTSD or maybe some medication when I was recovering. Like clockwork, I will be ready for bed. I can't keep my eyes open. I'm ready, and I'm out like a light in about 10 minutes.
That's great.
Bodybuilding. What else do I do? So many other things. Mewing actually is the other. That was my more recent thing. So
What's
that's about
that?
tongue posture. Tongue posture is
Huh.
surprisingly really important. And so you look at hunter-gatherer
Hmm.
tribes where they don't give their babies soft foods. They don't give them
There's a
all this
lesbian joke in
mushy
there somewhere.
crap. Yeah, no. So what happens is the roof of your mouth, the palate there, is too small in the modern diet. You're not strengthening the jaw of a child. So you get a lot of overcrowding. That's why we need all these braces and all these things. So what you're really supposed to do is the tongue has to be in the top, in that little pocket in the top of your mouth. Yeah, you go. And you can actually suck when you're trying to practice it because you haven't learned the muscle memory. You actually have to suck the tongue back up in there because we can't do it because we never did it before. And I'm getting
I'll
better
have
at
to
just
practice
getting it.
that when no
Yeah,
one's looking at me, when I'm alone in the
yeah,
dark
yeah.
and no one can know what I'm doing.
There are videos that show you how to do it, but also bringing my teeth forward so I get close. So like, uh, God, it's hard to do. Uh,
Hmm.
so my teeth, very significant overbite, and I told my dentist about this when I was a kid. They're like, it's fine. No, it's not actually. So, yeah, I mean, I
Mm.
used to snore a little bit after the accident. Actually, I didn't snore much, and then I had the accident, and then my airways and all that. So then I got into the mewing because I went, oh, it's actually about tongue posture as well. If your tongue is just stuck on the roof of your mouth, you don't snore because your tongue's not flopping around. Worked like a treat.
Huh.
Um, but
Wow.
again,
That is so interesting. I'm gonna have to look
yeah,
this up, chat.
yeah, I think it's Mew. Michael Mew. I think Michaela Peterson actually interviewed him. He's a really interesting guy, and he says,
All
people
right,
are
I'm gonna
trying
write that
to,
down.
yeah, MEW. So a lot of our facial bone structure issues, teeth overcrowding, snoring, which then leads to what do they call that? The sleep apnea, insomnia, fatigue. All of that is connected to tongue posture. And this guy comes from a family of
Wow.
3 generations of dentists. You see, I'm telling you with very, very good, authority here. This is how it works. But the dentists are trying to shut him up because, well, hang on. If everyone can just solve this by changing their tongue posture, then they won't need us and we won't make money. So, again, the older I get, the more I realize how fucked this capitalist system is that
Yeah.
they want you sick. They want you sick. You are worth more to a government, to an institution of business if you're sick, dying, or dead. If you're alive and healthy, you're a burden. You are not making them money. I mean,
Yeah.
it even goes to we have light bulbs for a long time. We've had light bulbs that would never go. This is relevant. I swear. Light bulbs that would last forever.
You're
We've
fine.
had stockings, pantyhose, what do you want to call them, that don't break. We have indestructible ones that just you can use them as a fan belt on your car. We don't have those anymore. We have very rippable tights now. Why? Well, because we want people to keep buying these things. And even with, well, not so much now, all cars look the same, but especially during the 1950s, you suddenly had a very new car every single month. Oh, different color. Oh, we got bigger tail fins, bigger this, bigger that. Why? Well, we need people to keep buying things, and the only way to do that is either making it an inferior product that breaks, or creating this
Yeah.
idea of fashion. And the whole trans thing is fashion. And that's the crazy thing is we have seen and I didn't mention this, but I don't talk about this enough, actually,
I agree.
because most people wouldn't know this. The fashion of the trans movement has changed. When I was first transitioning, it was you could be trans however you want. You can transition with hormones, surgery, you just change your pronouns, you just change what you wear, you can cut your hair. Whatever works for you, that is trans, and you are valid. Now, oh, you're trans, are you? Oh, you're an egg. An egg. An egg is someone who's out or something. I don't. An egg is someone who's
What?
about to be trans. Yeah, egg is this term that they keep using of, oh, you haven't hatched yet. You're a
I did
trans.
not know that.
I know. Egg IRL is this
It
weird
sounds like a
subreddit.
groomer made that up.
It does, don't it? But yeah, it's this idea of, oh, so you want to be trans? Oh, well then here's the hormones, here's the surgery. You got to do this, otherwise you're not truly trans. You need to do. Wow, slow down, calm down. But that's what it's become. Is it used to just be, oh well, if you want to approach this in your own way, that's fine. And now it's you must follow the doctrine.
Oh yeah, we're in a mental health epidemic. Like in what other scenario? Like why is it when you change your body to match your brain, it's affirmation. But God forbid you change your brain to match your body, then that's conversion. My God, yeah. You know?
Yeah, what?
Like why is that conversion?
Yeah, but the thing that really, well, after all the trauma I've been through, I think it forced me to wake up and realize what really matters in life. And it depends on the kind of pain, because I think a lot of these trans kids have probably dealt with sexual trauma, abusive parents. So those things, because you're a child especially, you're not equipped, you don't have the mental resources to deal with that. So you cope, and how you cope is hiding from reality, and create this disguise, this costume for yourself. And that's what I went through. So that kind of pain, maybe in the long run, maybe when you're old enough and you can reflect on it, you have distance from it, they can be benefit. But in the immediate present, no. It can be very destructive, and it can lead you down paths like transitioning. But my near-death experience, being hit by a car, dealing with the burglaries, just repeated stresses and losses and abandonment and betrayals. When I went through those, after having transitioned and detransitioned and kind of finding an equilibrium, then going through all of that, what that really did for me was learn. I was kind of Buddhist, I suppose. It's just, everything is temporary, and I can survive. Whatever life throws at me, I can survive that. So coping isn't healing. Transitioning is coping.
Yes.
It's not healing.
Yep. Say it again for the ones in the back. That is brilliant.
Yeah.
That is, you're 100%.
And I think, if it's a coping strategy, that's why it needs constant affirmation. That needs constant upgrading and making it more elaborate, more sophisticated, complicated. Because you're coping. It is just an illusion. When you really get to the truth, I think all those anxieties leave you. When you realize what really matters and how life really works, I feel a lot better now. Even though I've been through so much, I can say I've reached this equilibrium where I feel more emotionally intelligent and mature. I'm not resorting to escaping from reality. I'm not coping. I'm healing.
That's amazing. You're just such an amazing individual, so multifaceted and complex and deep. I only have a couple more things for you.
I am noticing how complicated I am. Yeah, that's fine. But I'm noticing how complicated I am, because when I've been trying to write this freaking memoir, and I'm editing it right now.
I was going to ask you about that, actually.
Yeah.
I've become a fan of you, so.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully I can get it out. Yeah, because there is a publishing company, a little indie publishing company that does detrans stories. I might go to a Western Australian, more mainstream company first, just because hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe a bigger company will be willing to listen to this. If not, okay, I know worst case scenario, there is a company who does share these stories and they're very good. But yeah, I realize how complicated I am because I'm trying to write this story and going, oh, but there's this other thing. Oh no, but you have to know this other thing before I get to this other thing, and then this other. Oh my god.
Yeah. There is a lot to you. That's for sure. But that's what makes you so unique
30
and
nearly
you know.
yeah 30 nearly 2 years of life, and I have packed a lot in.
You've been through so much. I I know we spoke about it a little bit, but for the chat who might not know, these doctors that did this,
Hmm.
what do you think? Like, will there be any legal things like pushed against them? I know you tried a lawsuit. What happened with that exactly?
Oh my god, yes, I'm trying. So initially I went to my family GP, and he rightly said, I don't think you're trans, I think this is just a phase. And he's such a transphobe, and never went back to him. Um, and
Oh,
oh no, I did actually go back to him after I transitioned, but no, I didn't go back to him after I detransitioned. Although if I had seen him again, because I moved away, if I'd seen that doctor again, I would say, you know what, thank you, you were right. You didn't really do anything to dissuade me, but at least someone said, hey, this is just a phase. Because he knew me from well, before I was born. My mother went to him when she was pregnant with me. He was the only one who said, maybe slow down, maybe wait for this to pass, maybe it's something else. So then a friend of mine took me to her GP, and that woman was actually a lesbian, which surprises me. You would think a lesbian woman would go, oh, well, you want to cut your hair short? You want to be a boy? You're just bush, like me. It's fine. But no, she didn't say anything of the
you
sort. She just
think?
went, oh, yeah. She just went, oh, well, yeah, that's great. I don't know anything about it, but hang on, I'll look into who I should contact and all of that. Um, so she just
Was it easy to get
facilitated the
testosterone?
transition. Surprisingly,
Was it
so
easy for you?
yeah, so all these trans people talk, oh, it's gatekeeping and it's so difficult and they're preventing us from getting. The world bends over backwards for us. If you're trans, you get everything because no one wants to be fired, no one wants a lawsuit. So this whole idea of gatekeeping and discrimination, and oh, I can't wait for the Trans Day of Remembrance. I'm gonna make a video about that because no one's killing trans people, buddy. I don't know where you got that chant, but
Yeah.
it's not happening. Um, but
How long did it
yeah,
take you
the
to get
idea
testosterone?
less than a year. So I go to that GP, and then
Wow.
she says, "Oh, okay, I've looked up the rules, and you have to see a psychologist and a psychiatrist. You get a letter from both of them, then you go to the endocrinologist, and then you can start." Okay. Well, healthcare is socialized in Australia, but psychological healthcare is not. So I had to pay for, and I wasn't working at the
Mm.
time. I was just, an overgrown child, dependent on my parents still. Um, and I'd never even got to see a doctor before in my life. So I actually needed my friend to take me to see her GP so then I could make those steps. I was very emotionally and psychologically immature. I was clearly not the kind of person who should be doing this, but I was the cliche of the kind of girl who comes forward who is neurodivergent, who is emotionally or socially immature, who has a very rigid idea of what male and female is, who doesn't want to be harassed by men. I was the cookie cutter mold, and they should have seen that, and they should have gone, okay, this isn't right. But of course, they don't know what they're doing. So I go to see the psychologist who no, see the psychiatrist who just doesn't give a shit. He gives me these really cliche questions. This is one appointment. Cliche questions. Oh, do you relate more to men's stuff or women's stuff? Do you like wearing men's clothes or women's clothes? It's about the gender binary as it
Wow.
is prescribed by capitalism, not reality. Nothing else. Not even asking
Yep.
about sexuality, genitals, or my breasts, or do I feel? How do I feel about those? Nothing. So I went, well,
Wow.
I mean, you're autistic, or well, they thought I was autistic, but it's so it's so difficult. I know I had something wrong with me. It looked like autism. We don't know. Anyway, I seem to be autistic. Well, you have a high likelihood of detransitioning, but I'll let you transition anyway. And apparently, that letter is floating around somewhere. He literally wrote in the letter to my endocrinologist, she'll probably detransition, but she can do it. um, and then I
Wait,
see the
what?
psychologist. Yes. Then I saw the
Wow.
psychologist, and she was much better actually. I liked her, and I said, "Oh, so do I get a letter of referral from you?" Well, I've only seen you for one appointment. I'd like to see some more times. Oh, okay. Well, it's pretty expensive. It's, $80, 70, $80 a session. Okay, look, I'm gonna go and make an appointment with an endocrinologist, and then maybe she can tell me if I really want to do this or not. And that's the sad thing, that at that point I was on the fence. I was thinking, oh, maybe this isn't what I want. I mean, I feel like I do, but maybe a doctor can help me out and help me weigh up the pros and cons, and we can really have a proper professional discussion about this. That's honestly what I was thinking and hoping for. I wasn't one of these people. Oh, I need to transition, otherwise I'm gonna kill myself, and I'm so distraught over this dysphoria. No, it was just, I just hate being a woman. I don't know why, because I haven't had the proper education from a good parental role model to know what a man and a woman can be. Yeah, no one asked me about my parents, my background. So yeah, I go make this appointment with the endocrinologist, and she does a hard sell on testosterone. And I've got a friend who is a nurse who has insider information. This particular woman does a lot of talks at these medical conferences selling hormones. She's always pushing hormone replacement therapy for menopause, for transgender people, for weight loss. She's just really big pharma, big pharma, big pharma.
Wow.
It's clear that's what she was doing.
Mm.
So when I met
Yeah, more
her,
of a
also,
business.
yeah, and also she's an idiot. I was just so frustrated with her because she just seems like an absolute moron. She was so spacey. She was just, yeah, very flighty. It was
Wow.
just surprising. You're my doctor. It's like talking to a child. She wouldn't pronounce my surname correct. Every time I
Unbelievable.
met, yeah, so she would ask me, so what name do you prefer? I went, oh, well, it's Connor Coulson. So Connor or Coulson, you call me whatever. And she latched on to, I need to call you Coulson. Um, no, my first name is a man's name as well. So I was just thinking, call me whatever you want. I really don't give a shit. You can call me she, he. I really don't give a fuck. Um, but yeah, but she kept calling me Coulson. It's not. I'm not a cool son. I'm Coulson. um, oh my god. So yeah, again, freaking idiot. And then also the other red flag I got to mention. I didn't think of anything of this at the time. Every time I went to see her, I would wait an hour at least, because inevitably one of her previous patients was having a mental breakdown. Why did I not think? I would just roll
Ugh.
my eyes. Oh, here's another one. They want to slash their wrist. They're screaming, crying. Oh my god. Yeah, Courtney, or Connor, because they've been put on these wrong sex hormones that are making them have a mental breakdown. You idiot. Um.
Oh,
So
you're not an idiot.
yeah. No, well, I was back then, but yeah. So Dr. Opie, Nicole Opie of the Keogh Institute, just so everyone knows. Don't dox her, but also I would stop you. Yeah, so she just did not tell me anything about, your immune system is going to be impacted. You might have false pregnancies. You can't really stop this hormone easily. You might have violent psychosexual urges. You might have a mental breakdown and think that you're a robot. You might, no, 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 none of that. It's you might never even be able
I've
to eat a
never
vegetable
heard
in your life without feeling sick.
I've never heard of any other detransitioner's story that has had false pregnancies like you. You know, like I said, it's like a
I've been looking.
medical anomaly. It's just, yeah, it is very like tragic and unique and scary and crazy. So, that's part of
Mhm.
why it's so important to get your story out there. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I wanted
there's
to talk to you.
absolute
And yeah.
lack of aftercare, or I mean, this lack of care, proper care to begin with. that, okay, let's say gender dysphoria is real, which it kind of is, but it's sort of a symptom of other things. It's almost like a psychogenic, it's a contagion amongst the population, because you put the idea out there. Oh, you feel mental distress? Oh, it could be gender dysphoria. So they're not treating these patients who have a real problem for the problem they have, and they're not treating it correctly. And then when that treatment doesn't work, there's no aftercare. There's no, oh, sorry, that wasn't working. Oh, let's try something else. They just wash their hands. They don't go, oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay. Slowly wean yourself off the drugs. We don't want a false pregnancy. We're going to have to continually monitor your endocrine system. We've got to monitor your entire menstrual cycle to see where your progesterone and estrogen is at any point. No, none of that. And sadly, I am not a doctor, so I can't do that. I can at least urge people, when you detransition, find a good GP and ask them to keep very close track of your hormones. And yeah, what else do you do? I don't even, I mean, when there's surgery involved, there is no going back, and that is not, well, okay. Dr. Opie didn't talk about surgery at all, but she did just sort of, she kept dropping it as, oh, but, and then one day, I guess, when you want it, as if it was an inevitable thing.
Wow. Yeah, like planting the
And then,
seed in your mind. It's so manipulative.
yeah, yeah, it is this gaslighting of, you're on this journey, so obviously surgery is gonna happen. It's
Right.
inevitable. And then, yeah, so hard sell on testosterone from day one. And I never went back to the psychologist. I never got that letter. Didn't need to. Dr. Opie didn't care. So she didn't have the correct documentation.
Wow.
I didn't have the right evaluation. But she went, oh, you're gonna have facial hair, your voice is gonna deepen, you're gonna get muscles, you're gonna feel stronger and bigger, and yeah. And I do realize now, I think my autoandrophilia is more to do with size than anything. And I talk about this a lot on my channel, in my memoir, that I used to be the tallest kid. I'm 5'3", which is very tall for a 10-year-old. I think, well, I've stopped growing when I was about 11 or 12, but I was still around 5 foot most of my childhood. I was a very big kid. They thought I was going to be the star athlete. I was beating the boys. So I had a lot of encouragement and validation for being the biggest and the strongest. And then that stopped, and that was robbed from me. And then I was trapped in this petite little body that was a little Barbie doll, and I hated it. And so I think ever since then, I've had this real psychological hang up about my body and the size of it. And I think a lot of that got conflated with gender, and then being a lesbian as well. And it's not uncommon for lesbians to have this sort of sexual fantasy. Hey, what if I had a penis? So I think it all just,
Yeah, of course.
it's a very complicated constellation. And I think that's what my whole channel is about, is every episode's about a different aspect of my identity and psychology. It is a very complicated constellation of things that would lead someone to decide being the opposite sex is better. And for doctors and therapists to not even broach it, not even remotely, they don't ask any questions. It should be the most intense evaluation of someone's background, health history, psychological history, sexuality, mannerisms, preference, everything. What do they ask? So, do you have more male friends or female friends? Do you like wearing men's clothes or women's clothes? Well, seems good. Go
Wow.
ahead.
That's insane. That's just insane. And I wonder, what the future holds for not only the LGBT community in general, but like all of
Hmm.
these kids who are being affected by this
Yeah, I mean,
movements, I
the
say that.
well, I like the LGB is separating from the T, because yeah, it never should have been there in the first place. Because one half of that is
Yeah.
embracing who you are naturally, and the other half is gay conversion. So it's almost like gay, and then people who are so gay that they want to become straight. Is how are these connected? Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the kids. Now
It's very.
I I've been watching that Jess Jennings very closely, because
Oh man.
that's so fucking sad. But when's the
Yeah.
breaking point? Is there going to be a breaking point? And
Right.
what kind of breaking point is it going to be? Because clearly, narcissist
Yeah.
mother, just like mine, but he's been groomed his entire life to think this is your true self. Oh,
Of course. And
and that,
who's gonna actually take the fall for all of these things that have happened to all these people? People like you, people like Jazz. Who's
yeah,
gonna take the responsibility? Like who's gonna be held accountable for all of these
yeah.
things?
And it's not easy to sue them. I mean, I've tried. Yeah, I was going to mention that. Okay, so I'll finish with Jess. Oh my god, are we talking for ages? I'm so sorry. Um,
No,
but
this is great. We're almost done, I
yeah,
promise. I love listening to
okay.
you.
Yeah, so Jazz Jennings, so he's like a little cult member there. He's a little poster child for a cult, and so how is he going to wake up one day and go, "Oh, my mother's an abusive whore who just wants the money
Yeah.
and the attention. She's a
Ugh.
narcissist." I
Yeah.
can see her behavior is just like my mother's. It makes my skin crawl. And that
Oh
TLC
man.
just films. They film it, they put it on TV, they don't care. But the fact that this woman is
I
constantly saying,
know.
I am so worried about the people who are going to bash you because you are trans and no one understands what being trans is. No one gives a shit. No one's ever bullied Jazz. Jazz is the most precious child in the world. And he's constantly looking for reassurance. It's so sad. He irritates his friends. You can see the friend group. They're trying to have fun, have a party, and then Jazz is going, well, I feel excluded because I'm trans and no one understands me. And oh, Jesus, Jazz. He just lighten up, fella.
Yeah.
Like, um,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
it's a
yeah, I
child,
do.
you know?
He's a child. I feel like there's a part where I relate to the other kids going, oh, geez, lighten up, Jazz. Yeah, I get that. It must be so annoying to have this kid with such intense emotional
Yeah.
needs. On the same side, you go, wow, I feel sorry for this kid who has such intense emotional needs that he can't relate to his peers anymore. He
Yeah.
needs an adult with an emotional intelligence that he doesn't have around him.
Of
So
course.
he's going to get to a point where he realizes what's done to him. But there's that sunken
Yeah.
cost fallacy of, well, does he double down? Does he continue the lie long after he's realized it's a lie? Or does he come out? Does he become suicidal? Does he sue his mother? Does,
Mm.
whatever outcome, I can't imagine it being a good one. Um,
Yeah, I don't think
uh,
there's going to be a good outcome for the community, the Q plus community at all in the next 5-10 years. I'm really concerned
no.
about the next generation. And when I think
Oh,
about it,
yeah.
it all goes back to David Reimer and John Money. Like it all goes back to that. Like he was where it all started. And we
Yeah,
should
that
have learned
what
from that
sexology
case.
is kind of perverted, turns out.
Yeah.
Oh, Kinsey, Jesus Christ. I was looking into Kinsey. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Making infants orgasm. Are you serious? Fuck.
There's a special place in hell for people like that, for sure. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not a Christian, so I don't necessarily believe in hell, but
no.
whatever
I'm gonna
whatever
start
is there,
believing.
they are suffering.
Yeah, I'm gonna start believing Christianity so I can believe in hell. So that I can.
Yeah.
um but yeah, there's a few cases of people who were intersex who were forcibly transitioned, or there was that really
Oh,
sad story of the twin boys, and then they were both circumcised.
that's
No one
David
should be
Reimer.
circumcised. That was him. Oh, I thought it
Yeah.
was. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, David Reimer was
Um,
raised as a female because of botched circumcision, and I'm very much against
yeah,
circumcision as well. It started as a
yeah.
religious
It's
practice, but we won't get into that. That's
yeah,
another stream. That is a completely other
yeah.
stream.
Okay, so this story has
Back to
happened so
holding
many
them
times.
accountable.
Then yeah, we've had so many
Yes.
cases then of boys being dressed as girls, and they know they're boys. They know you can't just. Um, but yeah, suing doctors for this. So, well, in Australia we have APRA, ARPHA. I can't remember what it's, but it's the medical board that evaluates, um, you know, the violations, doctor violations, and it's very hard because they are on the side of the doctors. They will always listen to the doctors first. So
Mm.
unless you've got money behind you, unless you have expensive lawyers you can push back and say, actually, no, that's bullshit, and I can tell you why. Um, I've had a lot of issues with the law recently. I haven't gotten my money from the insurance commission from my accident. Still, they think I'm partially at fault as a
Ugh.
pedestrian. So I've got a lawyer dealing with that. Um, and I had a traffic infringement case, and I was trying to get a lawyer to help me with that one because I didn't think it was right. And again, it's so much. The legal system is not democratic. The legal system is
Nope.
not a democratic system at all. It is a capitalist. It is a what would you call it? I mean, it's like financially meritocratic. What do they call that? Where it's the people who, yeah, the people who have the most money have the most power. Essentially, so there's a smarter word for it, but I can't think of it right now. Um, yeah. So you're basically, if you have all the money in the world, then you can write whatever freaking laws you want. You can sue whoever you want, and even if it's the most petty thing in the world. But for the average person, the
Oh, yeah.
99% of the population, going to court at all, even once, even for a very open and shut, obvious case, can leave people
Hmm.
bankrupt for life.
Yeah.
How is this fair? So, in the case of detransitioners, well, most of us were young at the time when we did this, and we're still probably quite young. So, let's even say the next 10, 15 years, a lot of us will still be in our 20s, 30s. And I mean,
Yeah.
just the way the financial system is right now, that very few of us are able to even afford rent, let alone being able to
Of
sue,
course. Yeah.
have a class action law. Class action, maybe. I think that's the best thing we can hope for is class action lawsuits. And it's been very hard for me to find Australian detransitioners who are willing to get involved. I know some Australian detransitioners, but I know absolutely none who are willing to speak up. And I get asked by
Mm.
lawyers and news reporters all the time, hey, can you tell me some other detransitioners in Australia willing to talk? I know them, but they will not talk. They do not want it. They don't even, their parents don't even know half the time. Um,
Mm.
so I
Why do you
was
think that
approached
is?
because of the risk, the sunken cost fallacy, the embarrassment, all of that, where they just go, well, I made such a huge, tantrum about this. I wanted to be a boy. I wanted these pronouns. I wanted all of
Mm.
this, and I made such a huge deal. And now I've reached my 20s. My
Yeah. No.
brain is finished developing. And that's the thing. So your brain finishes developing at 25, 23, 25. I detransitioned when
Yeah.
I was a little older than that. I transitioned before that.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you? You're
Right.
still in your early 20s developing.
Yeah.
But
Of course. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of these trans kids, they don't identify as trans anymore, but they will continue to live that way for a year, a number of years until they move town, they have some opportunity. Honestly,
Mm.
having an opportunity to start afresh. It might be starting a new school, new job. That's the only time they feel comfortable doing it. That Ryan, I think she's going by Ryan, Salty Alti on YouTube. She said, she's very well known detransitioner. She's a gamer now. But
Hmm.
yeah, so she detransitioned when she moved town and started a new job because otherwise she felt she couldn't do it.
Hmm.
Um,
I
but
see.
yeah, the class action is probably our best bet. And I was approached by a Catherine Deves, who is a right wing politician. I didn't know this at the time, but she contacted me through the
Hmm.
subreddit, the Detrans subreddit, and she wanted a class action lawsuit. Okay, yeah, I'll put my hand up. Couldn't find anyone else. So then she went, I'll take on your case individually. Okay, I'm a little wary. I mean, I didn't even do any research on this woman. I just, again, very naive back then. And so well, we were getting my medical records and stuff. We're getting a case together. And then she disappears. And then all of a sudden, I get this big
Mm.
bill for the procurement of my medical records from her law firm. And I'm going, Uh, I'm pretty sure I signed a contract that said
Ugh.
I don't have to pay anything. But then I looked closely and it was more
Yeah.
that. So she had sent me this confusing two different documents. So she had a personal thing to me saying, I will pay for these things. So kind of a no win, no fee kind of thing. But she's working against her law firm. So she was working against their interests. So I guess that's why she was fired. I don't know. I'm trying to piece this together. She doesn't speak to me
Gotcha.
for a year or two. Just last month or the month before, she calls me out of the blue. Hello? Oh, yeah, I'm really
Mm,
sorry I couldn't contact you. Legally, I wasn't allowed to. What, you couldn't even get your husband, your friend, your doctor's cousin's boyfriend's dog to just send me an email telling me what happened? Um,
yeah, what?
yeah,
Just left you in the dark?
I, yeah, very suspicious. Oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't want to do that to you, and I feel terrible about that. But I think what happened is she was fired from that law firm, and also, the ironically named Liberal Party, the right wing party here, didn't get in
Really?
around that time because she was
Huh.
pushing real hard on the trans platform. She was pushing trans is evil. This is corrupting the children. Yada yada. So she was very aggressive about it, and she was very controversial. But then the Liberal Party didn't get in, so then she dropped me. She saw no purpose to continue
Wow.
either through her firm or independently. So that's what I've pieced together. Don't trust lawyers, but yeah. So she has
Wow.
actually no interest now in continuing the case. All right, so I've told some lovely turf ladies who've contacted me, and they've gotten me involved. They've connected me. They're trying to hook me up with this particular law firm. The first lawyer they contacted is now on leave, and then this other one, she's on holiday right now. So it's just been a really drawn out process, and it's times are ticking because I think you got about 7 years from the medical malpractice to actually make the lawsuit, or at least start the lawsuit. So, okay, I mean, it's
Oh,
what,
wow.
5 years since I first started transition. Oh no, because it's 5 plus. Yeah, so it's nearly 7. Yeah. Oh my god. So it's not from the point I detransition. I think they count it from the point I started.
Really?
Oh, I'd have to
God.
look into that.
Statute of
I hope
limitations
not.
pisses me off so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
hate that. I hate that.
I think their reasoning is, well, if you got the treatment and you felt really good for those 5 years, and I kind of did, well, then their job is done. They don't have a lifelong responsibility to you. Hang on, this isn't like a warranty for a vacuum cleaner. This is my body. I live with it forever. I don't get another body.
Right.
Um, so, well, hang on. I realized there was an issue, or the issues became prevalent or present about 3 or 4 years ago. So should we not
Yeah.
start the timer then when I was having issues? No, as far as I
Yeah.
know. Fingers
That
crossed
would
that's not the
make too
case,
much
but what I've been
sense, and that
told.
would be.
Oh my god!
Well, I hope.
Because there are so many
I hope that works
surgeries
out for
that,
you.
yeah, because there are a lot of surgeries
Oh
that people
yeah.
get, hysterectomies, or lap band surgeries that you'll feel great for the first few years until you don't. Oh, but sorry, that was 5 years ago. So, too late, probably.
I have seen politicians vote down in America on healthcare coverage for detransitioners, and it really grinds my gears that
Yeah.
that
What is the
detransition care
logic?
cannot be covered because
It makes
they
no
already
sense.
made their buck, right? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because there's not really much money to be made. Well, I don't know. Could there? Surely these enterprising men out there in politics and in the big pharma industry, surely they could find a way to make money out of even me. Because, well, see, yeah, with the mewing, they want to shut down mewing. They want to shut down keto. They want to shut down carnivore because you don't make money out of any of this. Detransitioning, on the other hand, we need corrective surgery or revisions. We need our endocrine system thoroughly investigated. We may need HRT of some description for the rest of our lives. So, don't you want those customers? Is that not?
Well, maybe thinking with that in mind, maybe it just goes down to the narrative. They can't break the narrative by helping
Yeah,
detransitioners,
true.
you know?
Yeah, because if they acknowledge we exist, that means that everything's wrong. Oh, well, it doesn't work for everyone,
Yeah.
then I guess. And that's the thing, it doesn't work for everyone. It gets so drilled into everyone, the audience of this theater.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've had a lot of people, trans people. Well, there's a girl, this retransitioner. It's really sad. You get I could talk a whole heap about
Huh.
retransitioners because you're living in a world. It's like you're an
Wow.
alcoholic. in a world of enablers.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, there's alcohol. It's good to drink alcohol. You want you want a drink? You want an alcoholic drink? So no wonder you relapse. So you're in a world where people say, yeah, trans is good, it's great. Oh, detransitioners, they're confused, they're wrong, they don't exist. And so if you have all those psychological issues to begin with, and you don't have, I guess, the same will power that I had, I don't know. I was never really tempted to go back because it made me so ill. But I guess for other people, they weren't affected so severely. But Maritza or Mark Cummings, he's got the trans radio. It used to be trans radio on YouTube. Real nutcase, but sad case too. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
she was a lesbian who was horribly sexually abused as a child. Then she got older and she tried to be heterosexual. She married a man. Then she decided that wasn't for her, divorced him, and transitioned into a man. And she was on TV quite a bit as a man. And then she detransitioned and called herself Maritza. And then she tried putting on a wig and the makeup, and it didn't really suit her. And I was seeing what she was doing. She was trying to push herself into either extreme. She's very manly. She looks absolutely 100% like a man. You would not think that was a woman. So, of course, there's no real going back for her, even though she transitioned as an adult.
Right.
Some people really take to these hormones. She's currently married to a detransitioned man, so a trans-identified man, trans woman who still dresses as a woman. So you look at this couple, and they're quite interesting. They're detransitioned as well. So confusing. They approached me. I'll say yes to appearing on basically anything. And as long as I have enough subscribers, it's all. But yeah, so they're an interesting couple because they're both detransitioners. I thought that was quite tragic. They both found each other in this horrible place that, they've had the whole surgery, everything done, but they found each other and they love each other. Oh, wonderful. They approached me. We want to talk about detransitioning. Okay, great. And we got on like a house on fire, especially with Mark/Maritza, whatever he's calling himself now, herself. We had a lot in common. Our brains work the same. Overthinking, big imagination, all that kind of stuff. Wow, you're really cool. I like you, Mark. Keep in touch. And then he didn't keep in touch. And I thought, oh, that's a bit weird. I'll check in. What's going on with Mark? Oh, Maritza. So it's Maritza, and there's Mark again. Oh, okay, it's Mark. Oh, he's retransitioned. And then I think I've still got the screenshots, but he wrote this nasty article on his website. Oh, Courtney, look at you. You're trying to claim that transitioning doesn't work for anyone. You've become a turf, you've become extremist. Whoa. We agreed on everything. We were best friends. We saw this whole thing. He hated the trans movement. He hated what it done to him, her, very bitter about it. And then I see, sadly, he's retransitioned, and not for the first time, I don't think.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of people like that who...
I wonder if that was her audience.
Well,
I wonder if it had something to do with their audience.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was a fairly conservative crowd, or sort of, moderate. So not super left wing. The left wing it seems to hate her, because she was a detransitioner, but now she's retransitioned. Well, so what's her audience like now? And I've noticed the subscriber counts drop, the view count has dropped, so I think she's alienated a lot of people. And I just feel sorry for her. Look, you can say whatever you want about me, Mark/Maritza, whatever you are this week. I feel sorry for you that you will never find peace. You've tried and tried and tried, and there's nothing that's going to make you feel happy. And I don't know how anyone can fix that. And that's just the real tragedy of it. That, okay, I'm grateful that I've found a lot of peace. My life has a lot of challenges still. Can't afford the rent in this economy, so I'm staying with a friend right now. But, I have a lot of things I'm hopeful for about the future. I'm getting better and better all the time. My gender dysphoria or autoandrophilia is receding, and I think the estrogen cream has a bit to play. And I'm only taking that during my the menstrual, the period bit. In the leading up to it, that seems to have been enough to just sort of balance this discomfort with my body that I felt for most of my life. I'm feeling really good now, and I'm trying to uncouple, bodybuilding, getting bigger, with being male. I'm getting a lot better. I've been bodybuilding a lot more, and realize, and I look at a lot of bodybuilding women on Instagram.
Mhm.
That's the other thing too. Who are you surrounding yourself with, and what do you look at on social media? And so instead of looking at all these trans men that I want to look like them, or look at these pretty anime men, or whatever it is, that a lot of trans boys, trans identified females do. Now my feed's full of these bodybuilding, weightlifting, athletic women, and it's really inspiring. I feel good. I look at social media, and I'm looking at art, so I feel inspired to draw, and I feel inspired to lift. And so that is another.
Yeah.
I think my parting wisdom, if anything, you can implement right now. If social media is making you feel like shit, but you feel like you need social media anyway, well, you know what? Just change up that feed. If you want to be more inspired to work out, to create art, to whatever it is, to travel, then make your feed show the things that are going to make you happy, not make you feel like shit. It's that simple.
Yeah, exactly. What we consume definitely has a mental toll on who we are. And I don't like being on my phone all the time, but now that I work with GAG, I'm on my phone all the time, but I try
Hmm.
to get off my phone as much as possible, be out in nature. And what we consume, we are what we eat. Well, we're the same thing goes for what we
Yes.
consume online, and that is really what pushes this kind of thing. And then there are cases like yours where it's not fair that you basically have to experiment to figure out how to heal yourself. Like, it's not fair that
Yes.
you're an experiment to begin with, and it's not fair that you have to experiment on yourself to fix
Mhm.
what they did. So yeah, I think
Oh
that
yeah, and the thing is, if I
doing
want to
great.
help people, I would love to be able to provide a service for parents or kids to discuss all aspects of transitioning, the good and the bad, and
Yeah.
I guess a counseling service. Problem is, I would potentially be sued for that, even though I'm not prescribing any drugs. I am not. I'm just. It's a counseling. It is just
Mm-hmm.
life coaching. Anyone can be a life coach, but if you focus on this thing, nah, that's a red flag. No go zone. There was a guy who cured
Mm-hmm.
his diabetes with keto, and so he started. He's got a website. The website's still up, thankfully. But he made this website, and he was trying to help people kick their insulin and get healthy again. And because he had felt like a miracle cure, of course he wanted to scream it from the rooftop. I don't think he was even charging for some kind of counseling service, but he had a website, and maybe there was revenue from the website, giving people what's Big Pharma called dangerous medical advice.
Wow. That
Yeah,
just really
right,
shows
pal.
like who's in power when like you want to help
Hmm.
people and you can get sued or you can get deemed as dangerous or false information for really just trying to help people. That's really where we're
Yeah,
at. It's unfortunate.
absolutely. And I read so many articles that just enrage me that are pure propaganda, and I know people will just do a very
Yep.
lazy Google search and go, "Oh, well,
Yep.
look, the first few articles say that carnivore will kill you." No, no. Um, oh,
Or kill the
it kills
planet.
me. Yeah, but it kills me,
Yeah,
that, and
it's
I
crazy.
get worked up sometimes that I think there are so many people that I can help, but how do I get through to them?
Yeah.
How do you undo an entire lifetime of conditioning? I know the truth. I know what's going to help. And at least with diet, I can at least say, hey, just do keto. Got PCOS, keto. Just trust me, it won't hurt you. Just do a month, and even that is a lot. It's
Yeah.
very hard to get into people's heads. You've been suffering from this. You hate the way it makes you feel, the way it makes you look. So just try this thing. That's what I did. I was so ill, and I wanted to stop the way I felt. So I went carnivore. So why are people so afraid to try? I think the more open-minded you become, the more open to experimentate. I've experimented a lot. The more you experiment, the easier the truth becomes to see, because it's,
Yeah.
from your own, you become your own scientist. Okay, when I was taking these drugs, when I was eating this way, when I was behaving this way, whatever it is, when I was in this social group, I know I didn't feel good, and now I'm doing this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
I feel better. It should be that simple. But people would rather sit behind a keyboard and yell at you.
Yeah. People are just broken, but I think that
Mm,
your heart is in the right place. I'd hire you as my life coach. You know,
excellent.
I talk about protecting children, and I get shadow banned and from every
Mm,
big tech. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if this video gets shadow banned. Which that reminds me, everybody give this a
mm.
like and comment on it down below. Yeah.
Yeah, because you look at the transgender YouTube channels, and they've got at least a
Yeah.
million subscribers. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
No detransitioner. I mean, okay, so Salty Alty is probably the most popular, but she doesn't even talk about being a detransitioner. She's a gaming channel, so she streams herself
Mm,
playing games, and she just
yeah.
wears cute little outfits, and that's what people are looking. She's not spreading the
Exactly.
message. So she's probably got a few thousand
Right.
subscribers, 100,000 maybe from memory. I mean, I could look. No, no, I won't interrupt the stream. But yes, she's doing okay for herself, is what I was saying. But no, everyone else who's a detransitioner or a turf, um, oh god, I think the most maybe 8,000 subscribers. That's the best we can do,
Yeah.
because the algorithm doesn't want us.
Nope. Yeah, we definitely get shadow banned. I get shadow banned whenever I speak about, pedophilia, the history of the transgender movement, how it affects children, how it affects mental health of adults too. I always get shadow banned, and if it wasn't for GAG, I wouldn't have the momentum that I have now. So I'm very thankful to be part of that organization, and that's how we
Yeah,
connected. So I'm really thankful for that.
I'm I'm glad that GAG is pushing against the bans, because they were banned. One of the accounts, I think, on
Yeah.
Instagram was banned, and they pursued that and went, "Oh, no
Yeah.
fucking way, we've done nothing wrong." Yeah, we are living in a
We've been
time of
banned a few
worse.
times.
Yeah, we are living in a time of censorship that is comparable to communist China, to North Korea.
Oh yeah.
Our freedom of speech is being taken away. Our ability to just discuss, to ask questions, is being eradicated. That, oh well, if you even question this, you're a transphobe. I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
I'm just annoyed.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
yeah,
We live in a
it
post-truth society. The truth
yeah.
isn't profitable. The truth isn't convenient. So,
Problem is, it all comes from America. Australia is very much America's little brother. We were we still are part of the
mm,
Commonwealth. We're a British colony. And so we were very much
hmm,
under British influence up until about, I want to say, the 60s. And then, oh no, 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 50s. Because we went running on into Vietnam with America. Why? I don't know. We had no business, or no one had any business being in Vietnam, but especially Australia. And that's actually
yeah.
my favorite era of military history. I go to military collector fairs and stuff, and they always ask me, "So what are you collecting?" Vietnam. Vietnam. I love how,
That's so cool.
yeah, love is the wrong word. I am fascinated by the absolute shit show that it was. But this is just before
Hmm.
the media. I mean, you have the news media, and people were already very critical of what was being done in Vietnam. But,
Yeah,
and
my
again,
mom
look,
was in
we can
Vietnam
openly,
in the army.
yeah, wow. Oh, wow. So she probably knows. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fucked. Um,
I'll tell you more
yeah,
about that later.
yeah. You got to tell me another time. But yeah, that's the era I am most fascinated by, in terms of how civilians regarded it, how they understood it, how the news conveyed it.
Yep.
Um, and so yeah, Australia got involved with Vietnam, and that was when we were, I think, the most distinct moment when we were Americanized, and we have just followed suit ever since, and I hate it. And we did the exact same
Yeah.
things the Americans did when it came to transsexuality. We did not even
Yeah.
resist. There was not even any hesitation. It was just, oh, well, the Americans are treating it this way. We'll do the same thing, adopting all the same policies and
Yeah.
rules. Why? We are not America.
I understand. And America has followed Europe as well. And I can't stand it. Like I told you, I fled. I fled the country for the bullshit, So,
That being
and Europe's
said,
lost. So
well, I guess it's mostly Scandinavia or surrounds. So you got Norway, Sweden,
yeah,
uh, Denmark. Yeah, I think they've got really good. They're stepping back from all the trans policies. They're realizing, well, we've done these studies, surveys. We are not helping
yeah, they
patients
started it.
with this. The Dutch protocol, wasn't it?
The
Um,
Yeah, the documentary called
yeah,
Brainwash that came out in like the early 2000s, and that was about all of this. So that was a
yeah.
long time ago. Norway, I
Yeah,
believe,
so
started
Europe
it.
sort of Europe jumped in and then they're walking away from it. So okay, they're on the right track, but where does Australia go? I mean, based on recent documentaries in Australia that I was in, it doesn't look so good. That the main
Yeah,
consensus is affirm or lose your job. And I don't know.
right.
th- That's the thing that pisses me off. Is see, I've had to confront a lot. There is no room for running away from the truth, the difficult truths. I have become
Yeah,
comfortable with being uncomfortable. That is one of my mottos these days. Be
yeah,
comfortable with being uncomfortable. Oh, I don't want to face this because it makes me feel bad. So what? It's just a feeling. Get the fuck over it. Um, so when it comes to therapy, even it's not trans, a lot of therapy now is affirmation. Oh, why do you feel that way?
yeah,
Well, explain why you feel that way. It's just, yeah, that one question rephrased a million different freaking ways. What therapy really should do is more like a life coach. Well, look at you sitting here. You want to be an artist, you want to be a filmmaker, you want to be a vlogger, whatever career you want. What are you sitting around playing video games, feeling sorry for yourself? Well, what the hell? I think a lot of people need a friggin' smack upside the head, a little bit of a,
oh
well, kind of
yeah,
boot camp. I think
definitely.
we're babying ourselves. We're babying ourselves. We need more of a boot camp. We need someone to go, you suck, but I believe in you, and I'm not
Yeah,
going anywhere. I'm not quitting on you. You suck, but
yep,
you can be better. I'm not quitting on you because I
yep,
know you can be better. And how often do we get someone in our life
yep,
saying that? We don't.
exactly. That's why we hire Courtney Coulson as our
Yeah,
life coach.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be freaking life coach, goddamn, drill sergeant. Yes,
I'm
I
gonna
have
hire
done that to my
Courtney to be
friends.
mean to me.
Yes, um, but
Please don't be mean to
lovingly
me.
kicking
I'm
your
very soft
ass. Yeah,
inside.
no,
Okay.
lovingly kicking your ass. It's just like I'm gonna yell at you, but I'll hug you. Um, but I've done that with friends as well. That
That's very Freudian.
I yes, yeah, it's a whole cycle.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah,
all
no,
goes full circle.
yeah, something to do with the rectum. Everything's connected to the rectum, I'm assuming, because it's Freud. But yeah, no, I have done that with friends where, look, they'll come to me with a problem and I'll help them to regulate. And that's what we should be doing with people who have gender dysphoria as well. Talk it out, talk it out.
Right.
I'm here for you. Just say it all, throw it all out there. Then after a period of time, maybe it's a few weeks, few months, and they're stagnating in life and they're not thriving the way they can. Yeah, then I'll drill sergeant Courtney, hellmaster Courtney. I'll just say, look, I know what you're capable of, and you're not doing it. You are miserable because you're not doing these things, and I'm going to help you I'm going to keep harassing you every day and ask you, have you done these things? And yeah, I
Yeah.
think parents used to be like that. Maybe there are still parents like that who that I don't know. Tough love has become a controversial thing. The term has been really warped.
Yeah.
It's not about corporal punishment, physical punishment and abusing your child. No,
Yeah.
but having a parent who has the emotional maturity, and I don't think a lot of parents have that. My parents definitely did.
No.
But the emotional maturity to say, look,
No.
you've done a bad thing. You screwed up today. And you know what? We'll talk about it. We'll come to an understanding. Why did you do this? Why did you feel you had to do this? What do you really want to be in life? And I'm going to help you get there. And I've never, ever heard any parent being like, oh, maybe a few, but look, it's Instagram, so you never know if that's the truth or not. but having that freaking
Right. Yeah.
emotional maturity, because here's another reason why kids are transitioning. They want boundaries. When you're a teenager,
Yep.
especially, you want to push and push and push to see where the boundaries are. That is your social development. It's a very crucial part of, okay, so what okay, piercings, yep, tattoo, okay. Cutting my genitals off? I'm still going. No one's stopping me. I'm still going. Yeah.
I know. How did we go from like the emo kids to like this? You know? Oh,
Yeah.
all our parents are propagandized consumerists. Maybe.
Yeah. It's really sad that parents are being gaslit to ignore their instincts, their innate, inborn instincts as a parent. I'm not a parent myself, but
Yeah.
I've been told, it's a powerful. You would do anything for that kid. You would give if your parents aren't assholes like mine, but you would give your life for that kid. You want the best. You want to protect them, and you know them really well. You've taken the time to get to know them pretty freaking well. These
Yeah.
doctors, these therapists, these teachers, they don't know you're a kid. You do. You freaking birthed the
Right.
thing. So,
Yep.
being able to say to your
I'll,
kid,
I
okay,
go ahead.
hmm? Yeah, to
Yeah. Go
say to a
ahead.
kid,
Say.
I see how you're feeling. I understand. Let's try to find out why. Let's explore.
Yeah.
Not, oh, well, if I don't do this, then I guess you're going to kill yourself. And yeah.
That's so important. And I think that's something that GAG focuses on a lot, are like the parents' rights. But honestly, I mean,
Mm.
this might be a controversial take, for my friends in GAG who might be watching this, but I blame the parents who are, pushing their kids to go to drag queen story hour. There
Oh my God.
are definitely
And the
parents that are
narcissists.
activists
Oh, yeah.
that are
Yes.
pushing their kids into it. It's like
I
trans
know.
housing by proxy,
I know. Here's a friend I lost. So she was, very woke, big woman, short hair, brightly colored, very typical SJW. Friend of a friend, really, but we got along fine. She had a little boy, and I felt sorry for this
Yeah.
little boy. Beautiful kid. See, beautiful,
Yeah.
sensitive boy, creative. And he'd only just entered. Oh, I don't think he'd even got to well, we call it pre-primary. So it's just after kindy. So I think he was in kindy when he was already saying, "Oh, I don't feel like a boy. I think I'm a them they." Oh, well, excellent, son. I'm gonna
Wow.
call you a them they. I'm gonna call you whatever name you want. Oh, Jesus! And she blocked me. I didn't say anything about. She just didn't like the way I was living, apparently. Oh no, she was vegan as
Wow.
well. She blocked me for being vegan, actually, not for being a turf. Or it could have been both. You never know. But
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So yeah, I don't know where that little boy is now. He'd probably I'd be nearly 10 at this point. But yeah, geez. I hope he did just outgrow that and realize, oh no, I am a boy who is just sensitive.
Yeah.
And then boys with emotions. Oh my God, don't get me started with this whole movement right now. Men need more testosterone and they don't need therapy. And, they just need to earn more money and they'll be happy. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's the other extreme of, oh,
Yeah.
men aren't men enough anymore and men are more girly. No, we've had androgyny forever. And women want a man who is sensitive, nurturing, emotionally intelligent. So you can bash all that Chad macho shit up your ass. Maybe some women are into the meatheads, but a lot of them aren't. So anyway, you got this.
I like
Both
girly boys,
extremes of
but
being
that's also
assholes.
because I like girls. So
I know, right? I'm
you
attracted to
know.
androgynous men. I don't know if I would sleep with one.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I'll try anything, but yeah, I'm attracted to femininity or softness or there's a
Yeah.
certain aesthetic. And I realize that now,
Yeah.
but with the whole labels thing, I think it doesn't allow us to just comfortably explore. Oh, well, you noticed a boy was pretty. Does that mean I'm not a lesbian? I don't. Shh. It does. Who cares?
Yeah.
I had one man, very straight man, but very queer SJW wife, and it broke my heart. He was a lovely man. I love him, and he doesn't talk to me anymore because the SJW wife doesn't want him associating with a
Mm.
turf. But yeah, sweet country boy, straight as an arrow. And he's saying, oh, maybe I am bisexual. Sometimes I look at men and I notice they're very attractive. Yeah, I like drawing Conan the Barbarian and characters like that. I'm going, yeah, you're realizing that Arnold Schwarzenegger was very impressive. It doesn't mean you want to have sex with him. And he went, oh, yeah, I guess I wouldn't, but I still look at him like that because you like to draw muscly men because you grew up with He-Man. It doesn't mean you want to bang He-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, all types of people can be attractive, and
Yeah.
I think as long as you find yourself, and you find that confidence in yourself of being who you are, being who you were meant to be, go figure, crazy
Yeah.
concept, then
Yeah,
it comes naturally.
bisexuality is an interesting one because especially being on the dating apps, and a lot of women are very keen to say they're bisexual. And I think I'm wondering. My theory is maybe it's more to do with how women in our society and Western primarily society, how women interact with each other. That it is socially acceptable for us to hug, to kiss, to hold hands. Even they're just best friends. The closeness yeah.
Yeah. Best friends.
Yeah, just very good housemates. Yeah, it is very hard. I'm friends with a married lesbian couple, and the amount of times that people go, "Oh, are you sisters?" They both have
Oh
black
man.
hair. That's about it. But
Gotcha.
yeah, it is very. We permit women so much touch, and I think everyone needs touch. Touch is such an important thing. And I became very touch starved after my accident. My body needed it. I developed this kind of
Right.
phantom pain, this fibromyalgia from lack of love and touch. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
men are experiencing this because we can't hug your female friends because they might think, you want to date them or something. And you can't touch your
Yeah.
male friends because that's gay. So yeah, it's this toxic masculinity where men need love and touch and affection just as much as anyone else, but they don't get it.
Definitely.
So I think we have women
Yeah.
who have so much freedom that they almost think, "Oh, am I bi?" But then they never date a woman. They might kiss a
Right.
girl and like it, or get involved with the
Yeah.
polyamorous thing, but never date a woman exclusively,
Oh God.
which I find quite interesting.
Yeah, my beef with the TQ is that,
Yes.
like, it's almost like they're trying to, like, invalidate bisexuality. Like, the amount
Yeah.
of actually the amount of lesbians that I've dated that, like, I don't know, it must be like maybe it's something deep inside of them, but like they almost like don't trust bisexual women. And I'm very monogamous. If I'm
Hmm.
with somebody, I'm only with them. I'm not thinking about the other gender. I'm
Yeah.
very committed to my relationship at a time. So like, you know
Yeah. Or
I
bisexual
just
men,
feel
they get a
like
lot of
bis get a
flack as
bad
well.
rep.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah, for
misunderstandings. I'm
sure.
friends with a bisexual, although she actually calls herself pansexual. There's no such thing as pan. It's bisexual, not
Oh man.
bigenderal. You are attracted to the two
Yeah.
sexes, not whatever else you're imagining. And also, if
Pan
you're
is part of
intersex,
the TQ cult.
oh yeah. Well, also, if you are intersex, you are either an intersex man or an intersex woman, and I can't say this enough. There is no such thing as a nothing. You're either a
Yeah.
man with some deformities or a woman with some deformities. But anyway, yeah. So bisexuality, I think bisexuality is being right in the middle. Ironically, LGBTQI, it is literally caught in the middle of this whole crossfire because,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I think a
sure.
lot of, well, I think a lot of us, I don't think bisexuality is the default, but I think a lot of us would be more open to seeking intimate companionship, love,
Yeah.
touch from the same sex
Hmm.
and the opposite sex if our culture permitted
Yeah.
it. Whether we would
Yep.
want to have intercourse, whether we wouldn't have a family, whether we want to, have a long term marriage, whatever it is,
Yep.
I think that's all down to the individual. But I think overall, just blanket statement for culture as a whole, I think we need to just be more open to intimacy of any kind, of
Yeah.
touch, of closeness. We lack closeness. It's all behind screens.
Yes.
It's all distant. Where is and so that's why people tend to get fixated on these labels because they sit alone in a room and go, I think I might be bi, or maybe I'm pan, or maybe I'm trans, or maybe I'm.
Right.
They spend so long obsessing over the 150 Pokemon types of gender and
Yep.
sexuality, that
Yep, they get all these
There's
ideas from their phone. After COVID being
yes.
stuck inside for so long, these young people in their formative years were stuck inside, apart from human beings.
Mm,
When I was younger, I got to like actually touch other people my age and like
yes.
fuck around and smoke weed and
Learn
like
normal
do dumb
physical
shit.
boundaries. Yeah, the normal social
Yeah.
physical boundaries. I know. I look a lot. I look at the mostly yeah Gen Z, maybe a little older, but I look at how often they just put the hand on the shoulder of a friend or just high
Yeah.
fives, touching in very little. It's surprising.
Yeah.
And I
For
think
sure.
Gen X and the millennials. Yeah, I see a lot of physical contact there, and then I think from my age younger, it tapers off significantly, and I think it is just
Yeah.
not having normal social interact. I'm glad as a kid I rode around on bicycles with the neighbors' kids. You never. We went from house to house every year or two, just made new friends. Oh, there's a kid riding his bike. Oh, he's my new friend now, and that's what it was. So this is where this dissociation, this depression, this anxiety, everyone's in their own head. They're not in the real world, and I've noticed that even just before I transitioned, very introverted, very nerdy, all that. But then when I got sick, I got hit by the car, isolated again. I felt really isolated. I felt really depressed. All those mental issues came back. When I recovered, I went back to work. I love where I work. I'm a furniture upholsterer. They're all friends. Everyone there, good friend.
Hmm.
We have Christmas parties.
Cool.
It's good stuff. And I got involved with Krav Maga, which is the Israeli martial art, and I made lots of friends there. And I've got, got a Cars and Coffee. I go to the military collectors fairs, so I have these regular social outlets where I'm physically around people. We have a shared interest. We have a shared goal. Most Zoomers don't have that. They really don't have that outlet.
Yeah. Or they go to like the extreme and they're like over sexualized because of their content. So like when they're with someone, they're like overly stimulated and like overly sexual. I fear for the young generation, but that's also another stream.
Yeah. Yeah, it is absolutely. The internet is indoctrinating us. It is making us think of reality as a certain thing when really it's a bunch of narcissistic attention seekers who are doing extreme things to get clicks, to get
Yep.
views. It is not a
Yep.
representation of reality. And yeah, I think a lot
Yep.
of the youth that need to just stand back and actually think about, well, what do you really like when you are in person, when you're around other people? Take your sexuality, for
Yeah.
example, So when I'm out in the world, who do I notice? I might notice a man here and there, but I'm really, especially when I'm ovulating, oh, girls everywhere. Oh, ladies, I'm very, I'm suddenly very distracted. I'm like Johnny Bravo over here. And oh, mama. But yeah, I notice in real life when I'm not looking at, this fictitious anime impossible view of reality. No, I notice ladies I like talking to. I feel most, anxious about talking to. I could talk to men all day. I never feel
Gay
nervous
panic.
around. Yeah, gay panic, essentially. Yeah, I can talk to men all
That's
day.
real.
I
That's a
feel
real
so
thing,
comfortable.
chat.
Oh yeah, no, my ENT doctor recently. So I had a bunch of male doctors because it's a public hospital, so I don't have the same doctor every time. So anyway, this really attractive
Yeah.
Canadian doctor woman was there. So, oh man, she's touching me. So, oh. Would not feel that way if it was a man. So obviously,
Right.
being in
Yeah.
touch with physical contact with another person, being in the real world. Oh, okay, I know how I feel. Whereas I know I've got a friend who he's saying he's pan asexual, and he's not self-aware at
Oh
all. He's not
man.
able to face his issues, but he's
Yeah.
obese. He's a very nerdy, introverted, kind of autistic, ADHD kind of. I don't know what he calls himself. All the things. I've gotten myself stuck on the
Yeah.
needle there. But yeah,
Oh no.
yeah, it's a sewing machine. It's gonna happen. But yeah. So he's pan asexual. He has never dated anyone. How does he know what he's attracted to? How does it? What is the point
Right.
of a label? But yeah,
Yeah.
I think if he or people
People
like
are
him,
just so desperate
hmm,
for an identity. You know,
Yes,
people are
to fit
searching,
in.
especially young people are searching for an identity to just, and they'll take whatever is given to them. I understand that, you know, because our generation grew up with like the scene kids, the emo kids who were looking for an identity from anything that they could get. So, but now it's just so much more detrimental. Like that was already detrimental because that was like, you know, cutting and eating disorders and
Mm.
like, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
piercings and
that takes me
stuff.
back.
But like this is even worse.
It's way worse. Yeah, what this is again encouraging a disconnection from reality. And but
Yep.
we are a tribal animal. We're a social creature. We want
Yeah.
to find our niche, our place. And okay, you know, back in the day, it was you had the goths and the emos, the geeks, the jocks,
Yep.
the whatever it is. You know, you had your cliques, your subcultures, and that's all the trans movement is. It's just a bunch of subcultures. It's cliques that are very mean. It's a bunch
Yep.
of mean girls. They're all just so mean to each other. It's not positive. You know,
And
oh,
it's
just
so
be kind,
detrimental.
just be accepting.
Yeah.
No, you're not being kind at all. You know, if you're kind, I'll be
Yeah.
kind. But yeah, it is very much this. Oh, we're part of the in group. We're the cool ones, and everyone else
Yeah.
is a turf. They're an enemy. They're phobic. They're yeah. It is juvenile. It is absolutely juvenile thinking, and it shocks me that that aforementioned friend of mine, the asexual pan, whatever. Yeah, he's in his 40s, but he's never really held down a
Mm.
job. He lived with his parents until recently. You know, he's a lovely guy. He's a good friend. I don't want to bag him out to a bunch of strangers, but it's just God, man, what is this that you believe all the trans stuff? And because one time he actually got upset with me when I
Yeah.
said, "Oh, well, I like J.K. Rowling. I love her. I'm good on her for standing up what she believes in. How can we be friends?" Well, because I respect your
Uh,
opinions and I assume you respect mine. You know,
yeah.
I we don't have to be clones. We don't have to have the exact same opinions. Um, so yeah, I mean, there are adults who fall for this, and you know, using
Yeah.
him as an example, if you are lacking in your own life, then a cult is a beautiful, simple answer that just sums everything up. And even he's not trans, but he's an ally. So believing in all these things
Mm.
about sex and gender validates something in
Of
him that he
course.
feels like he's on the right side of history. And
Yeah.
also, I
So he's
think
in the clique.
he's in the clique. And also, saying no is the scariest two letters that some people will ever say, to just stand their
Yeah.
ground and say, I don't agree with this. I something about this seems off to me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no has really fallen out of favor in the mainstream.
Yep. Unless you're saying no to a turf, then you can
Oh
say
yeah.
no all day. Then you are
Oh, you can
rewarded for
threaten
saying
to
no. We're
you
enabling
can murder
childish
turfs.
behavior.
Yes. Yeah, it is I
Yep.
think the world has become even more immature. I don't know if we were always this bad and it's just social media that brings all their dumb ideas onto a page that we can all look at. But I want to believe
Yeah.
it wasn't like this when I was growing up. I felt like people were more level headed. And, you know, I think if you go into the world generally, you know, you walk around a shopping center, even, I don't know, go to a concert, you survey random people about how they feel about all this extreme internet stuff. I will guarantee half of them
Yeah.
don't even know what you're talking about. And then there's going to be, you know,
Right.
a number of them, they'll say, oh, yeah, it's all ridiculous internet stuff. I don't know. Um,
Yep.
but when you have the internet, then the micro becomes the macro. You know, oh well, these
Yep.
trans people have millions of subscribers. Yeah, because they're freaks, not because we support them.
Yeah, I know exactly. And you know, what's the best way to keep people in a childlike, manipulative, or you know, easily gullible
Manipulated, yeah.
state? Oh, block their
Mm,
puberty. Don't let them
yep.
grow up, you know? Destroy what makes them grow up, you know? And it all goes back to very pedophilic roots, which obviously I hate, but
Mm.
yeah.
You know, it's amazing
So,
that not to it's not a huge tangent, but you know the whole the controversy around COVID and having the discussion on vaccines being censored. You know, I think that's another sign of wow, you
yeah.
know, big pharma is once again controlling the narrative because
Yep.
prior to that, so vaccinations, transitioning, any of these things,
Yeah.
vaccine hesitancy or procedure hesitancy of any that term has fallen out of use. But hesitancy
Right.
is the right of any patient. They have the right to know
Yep.
everything, informed consent, and they have a right to be hesitant and to voice
Yep.
that hesitancy. And so for me, with the COVID vaccine, and I do have a video about this, that the title is "Trust Me, You Don't Want to Transition," because I realized, oh, I don't like being in hospital. This is really scary. How did I think I was going to have top surgery? But trans people just see the headline, they go, "Oh, actually, you're wrong," and actually, cutting my dick off was the best thing I ever did. Yeah, mate, I wasn't talking about it. But yeah. So I was hesitant about getting the vaccine because of my immune system, because I took another product of big pharma's. I took the testosterone, so I am very sensitive to anything you put in my body. And I said, I'm really,
Right.
I'm hesitant. I can't do this or at all, or maybe I need to do it in a different way, or I need to wait for a different kind of vaccine. Who can help me? No one can help me. And I said, well, could I apply for an exemption for the time being? No, the WA government would not allow that. It was mandatory vaccines. And look, not to go on a huge vaccine tangent here, but it's a more, I'm using a case where we have very clear documentation of what the government did, what the pharmaceutical industry did. We have very obvious trails of how people reacted to the perceived threat.
Yep.
Okay, so transitioning. There's no hesitancy. There's no room for questioning. There's no room for anything. And if you question it publicly, you will be silenced. And so you're just seeing the same strategies over and over and over again, where patients are not being given the choice to think, to question. And, vaccines are great, but maybe vaccines aren't for everyone. I'm not immune compromised or deficient. I'm immune question mark. Like, there's something wrong. I took testosterone and now I'm overreactive to everything. And I took the COVID vaccine.
Right.
I felt like my heart was going to explode. It just wasn't for me. But why couldn't I
question things?
Yeah, why couldn't I? Why couldn't I question? And I have specific medical needs. You're doctors. If I have medical needs, can't we sort of negotiate and figure out what's best for me as an individual patient? No. And I do think a lot of doctors mean well. I think a lot of these doctors who are helping patients to transition really, they pat themselves in the back and think they're doing a great job. They're not. But they're going by what they're informed. And that tends to come from the government. It's always coming from the very top, generally speaking. It's not just, it never came from hospitals. Like Tavistock is probably one of the most significant examples. That didn't start there, though. That had to have started from the government approving that and funding that. I know I'm sounding all conspiracy theorist now, but
No, I am the biggest tinfoil hat, but I just want to say, like, I think that a lot of nurses and people who work in hospitals, especially after COVID, and are seeing they see the detransitioners first, right? They see firsthand, the problems that happen with transitioners. And so I think that a lot of them are silently against this, but, like you said, they are fearing of losing their jobs and not being able to provide for their families. And we're just in a big mess. So.
Yeah, I think there was that's that poem of, they came for such and such and I stayed silent. They came for this other group and I stayed silent, and about the Nazis, and then they came for the Jews and they came for me. And I wish I remembered that one. But yeah, it's absolutely what's happening now. I know everything always comes back to Nazis. I hate it, but it's like that.
That's called Godwin's Law.
Godwin's Law, yeah. That's like 4 hours of talking, and Godwin's Law.
Of course. It only takes 4 hours to get back to Hitler. It always does.
It always does. But
that is Godwin's Law. It's working. Shit.
Yeah, shit.
Godwin's Law is just a manipulation tactic.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it's the truth. But that you are in the situation of, you're a nurse or you're a doctor, and you're not high up in this. You just you want to go to your job day to day. You want your job, you want your money. So it forces you to have to prioritize. Again, capitalism ruins humanity and empathy, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you stay quiet. 'Cause, I guess someone else knows what they're doing. Is this is what we're doing now? Okay, I seems weird to me, but and then you assume you're. I think the fallacy is false minority, where you think, oh, no one else thinks the way I do. Turns out, actually, everyone was thinking the same way
Hmm.
you do. Yeah, because
I think we're the silent majority, and
yeah,
you're
because when it
right
came to
about capitalism.
racism,
It's capitalism for
mm,
the poor and socialism for the rich.
mm, I think it was around the time of Jim Crow and all of that, that most
Mm-hmm.
white people silently didn't like this segregation. They didn't approve of it at all, but they went,
Yep.
oh, very important people have said we have to do it this way, so sorry, no blacks
Yep.
allowed. There's your separate area.
Mm.
And then little by little,
Oh
everyone went,
man.
hang on, it's bullshit, right? I thought it was. You think it's bullshit? I think it's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the whole
Mm.
trans thing. And I've noticed this. I've been at
Right.
a lot of trans events, um, both as a trans and detrans, or events where there's a lot of trans stuff around. I don't specifically go to trans events anymore, but yeah, when we're talking to trans people to their face, we go, yes, yes, respect your pronouns, and yes, oh, you're very brave, and all of that. And I got that treatment when I was trans as well. Because that's what we want. We want validation. Oh, you're so strong and amazing, and oh, it must be so challenging for you, and yeah. So you treat it like a toddler on your birthday, but
Yeah.
then the moment they're not around and you start talking to everyone else, like, this is kind of ridiculous, right? Yeah, I don't really get it myself. I think it's a bit weird. I don't understand. Yeah, that's the general reaction. Most people just don't get it, don't care to get involved. And that's when you have your entire populace voting on an issue, a lot of the time it's a donkey vote. A lot of people are just saying, "Oh, yeah,
Mm.
yes to this and yes to that." So, oh, should
Yeah.
trans women be allowed in women's bathrooms? I guess I'm left leaning, and all my friends say I should. Well, hang on, whoa. Why are
Yeah.
you voting? Well, because I thought I should. Why do you think this is a
Yeah.
good idea? Stop and think about it. And they
Yeah.
don't.
Vote for your values and not with your fears. That's a
Yes,
that's a quote
absolutely.
from Gothics that I like a lot. So
Yeah, no, there was a very
yeah.
recently, I won't get into it, but yes, there was a very controversial referendum in Australia, and it was again making I don't know, everything just connects to the trans thing. Because, looking at COVID, you go, oh,
It
well, hang
does.
on, but Pharma and the government did the same thing for trans. It's the exact same approach, it's
Yeah.
tactic. And then this current referendum, well, the recent referendum, which was to give Indigenous people their own it's basically a little lobby group, a little the voice
Mm.
in Parliament, um, which to me, see, I voted no. Look, I'm a turf, and I voted no on the voice, and oh, I'm evil. But no, for me, I felt that it's othering them, it's separating them. That's segregation. They're dressing this up.
Yep.
The left wing, and I'm in a very left wing neighborhood right now, and there's bumper stickers that vote yes, vote yes. You're voting yes for segregation and tokenism. This is
Right.
condescending. This is not helping anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
whereas, but
I
no,
agree
but it
100%.
became, yeah, it became tribalism where, oh, but we're left, we're progressive, we say yes to everything. Whereas the
By out
overwhelming
of
majority,
curiosity, were you in a left-leaning neighborhood when your car got stolen?
no, well, it's bogan, what we call bogan, lower class, very working class. So it's a bit more right wing. I wonder, the guy who stole Ivy's okay now. I just need everyone to know. Yeah,
Yeah.
whoever stole her, was he right wing or left wing? I don't know. Does that factor in?
Are you
I think there
watching
have
this
been
right now?
studies. Yeah, man, in jail, I hope. Um, but yeah, I think there have been things about empathy and the whole right wing, left wing. But yeah, I think most people are actually just moderate. They, have their own nuanced opinions. There are very few people who are actually firmly into one camp or the other. I used to be,
Yep.
as a teenager, oh, I'm very left, I'm very progressive, of course. Like, why would you
Yeah.
not want these things? But yeah, no, the older I get, I go, oh, well, libertarianism has some good points, and communism has some good points, and this that. You can't just limit yourself to one or the other,
Yep.
red, blue, black, white.
Yep. That's true. I think I think that's I think that's a good place to
Yeah,
end it.
yeah. I think I covered everything. So
It's been about 4 hours.
yes, woo, you multi-part special there. You got
That
like a
was
season of
awesome.
content. If this was a British TV show, then you'd have a season. They only do like 4 episodes a season, so there you
What's next for you? Like, what's your plan? Where do you want to be in a year to 5 years? Like,
go.
what next?
So
And how can people find
to
you?
Okay, so yes, I'm Courtney Coulson on YouTube. I kept it simple, no tricksy names. Traviandesigns.com is where all my art goes. And Instagram is Courtney and Ivy, so you can see my lovely car as well. So in the next year, well, I'd like to get either one of my books published. I've been working on the memoir for so long, and I started it before my 2 years in hell, being hit by the car, having my house broken into. So, wow, it's like I've had to rewrite this because my whole perspective on life changed and I matured a lot. But yeah, I think I'm in the home stretch. So, getting that published. And then I've got another book that I'm playing with because I still do. Outfit of the day. So on Instagram, I take a photo of the outfit I'm wearing, and people really
Oh
love
my
it.
god, I love your fashion sense.
Oh,
Oh,
thanks
I
a lot.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well,
Your fashion
thank you.
sense is amazing. It's like vintage and just it's like
Mm. Yeah, well, see, so I try to get secondhand clothing. I'm all about doing things that are, environmentally and economically viable. And yeah, so I just thrift store, op shop most of my stuff. And even with my cosplay, my costumes, a lot of the time I alter things I find in an op shop because I don't like how many cosplayers just they buy all this cheap Chinese manufactured costumes or they make something
Yep.
and then they wear it for one convention, toss it out, make the new thing. Whoa, that's horrible and wasteful.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, doing more cosplay, getting my book published, then doing the outfit of the day book, which is like a little picture book, and it will explore how I express myself before transitioning, when I was trans, then detransitioning, and then rebutchifying. Finally discovering, oh no, actually, I've always been a tomboy, and always will be a tomboy. And seeing how my body changed in terms of weight and muscle, and that, I think that's a nice visual companion to the Soul of an Android memoir. And what? Oh yeah, the Metal Girl Solid. Hopefully that'll be out at some point. We're still reviewing Snake Eater. Starting at the. Oh yeah, so Metal Girl Solid. I have never played any. I had never played any of the games. Now I've only played up to Metal Gear Solid 5. So I don't know about Solid Snake. I only know about Big Boss. So that's the experiment. How do I react to these games playing it in the wrong order? So the first game is Snake Eater, so that'll be coming out. Keep an eye on it. Maybe it will be on my website. And then yeah, longer term, well, yeah, I would like to travel, and I would like to have a mortgage. My God, you're an adult when the thing you want more than anything, bloody mortgage. Just want a house that I own, to paint the walls, do whatever I
Yeah, of
want.
course. Yep. Yep. Hell
And
yeah. I
also,
want that for you.
oh, hello, cat. Um,
Oh.
and I'm still thinking I would love to join the Army Reserves. I would love to give that a go. They wouldn't let me in. I applied recently, but because of all my injuries, they went, think we can take you on. So yeah, once I've healed up, they will allow me to reapply in 2 years. So yeah, those are my long-term goals.
That's amazing. Well, I cannot wait to see what you do next.
Yes,
Sophie says it's time for bed and for food.
that's a cute
Thank
name.
you so much for being here. Yes,
Thank
Sophie.
you.
Thank you, chat, for being here. Thanks for watching. Make sure you follow Courtney on all her socials. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the support. And thank you for being here,
Alrighty.
Courtney.
Thank you.